Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Goodest cast. On this episode, we have Sebastian Suaza, all the way from Atlanta, Georgia, working at Koruworks. This man can fabricate, do CAD work, lowrider paint, build you a sick engine harness. This guy could do pretty much anything. I had no idea how wide his skill set was. It's pretty cool to sit down and learn about him, really finding a passion and just going for it. What it takes to learn a skill and really lock in and try and perfect it. Not only that, but he's a member of Team Garage Moon Power, who are some sick drivers in Throwdown. Also, he's one of the judges for Final Bout, so you know he's got a good eye for cool shit and good driving. Sebastian Suaza, check it out. Goodest cast. Roll it.
I really like drifting. That's like the most simple thing about it, to be honest. Um, I guess that's how it all started. Even just liking cars, because first it was like Hondas. Honestly, first it was like, so I'm Colombian. When I first moved here to like America, the most impressive vehicle to me was a dually truck. I wanted one so bad, and they were so freaking cool. Like to me, I was like,
They don't have dualies in Colombia?
they don't, but like, the biggest dually I saw there was, like, a old Toyota pickup, like, the tiny
Oh,
one
the
with, like,
old
the
schools.
little dually, and that
Yeah.
was, like, a big deal, but, like a Ram 2500, like, I nah. So when I came here, that shit blew my mind. So, like, I've always liked cars. I've always liked cars since little.
How old were you when you came from Colombia?
I was either 8 or 9,
Did you
around
come?
it.
Yeah, so you came over with like family and
Yeah, so my mom moved here first, and then I moved with her, or I came to visit her. This is why I can't remember if it's 8 or like, I visited her in Miami, and we lived in Miami for a year, and then I moved back to Colombia, and then I came back, and she was here in Georgia. Then I came back just to Georgia. So this is where I've been.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big move.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was
Yeah.
yeah, it was crazy.
So yeah, so you're looking at dualies and you're like, I want one of those.
Yeah, so, like, I think I honestly remember being a child on the airplane and, like, landing, and I was like, "Holy crap, what is that?" And, like, I'd never seen, like, a big truck, but not be like an 18-wheeler, you know? Like,
Yeah.
there wasn't that step like in Colombia, it was like a little truck and, like, a big truck. So, like, that was, like, the coolest part to me. And then, like, I guess in high school, Fast and the Furious and, like, everything like that got me into tuner cars. And yeah, and I've had a 240 since I've been, like, 15, actually 14, 15, so it was, like, high school, like
Wow.
yeah, it's been a long time.
How'd you buy a car when you were 14?
I used to work at, a dealership, I used to work at Smoothie King, I used to work at Frontera as a server, and, like, I first bought a 240 Volvo, and I used to drift that thing, like, in the gravel parking lots, and on the way to work one day, somebody rear-ended me and, like, totaled that car out, and they gave me, like, 3 grand for it, and I paid, like, $1,000 for it.
Sick.
And then the dealership I used to work at was my mom, like, she worked there too, and, some dude came in with a 240, and he was like, "I want a new car," and she was like, "I'll give you $1,000 for that, I think my kid wants it." And he was like, "Okay." And it was like a 5-speed coupe,
No
yeah,
way.
dual cam, and, like, I did a whole bunch of shit to that, like, a lot, to be
Did you
honest.
know what it was when you got it?
Yeah, 100%. Like, at that point in time, I was, like, fully like, I was super already nerdy deep into 240s. Like, it had Recaro, like, I had a red Recaro seat, and, like, I did, like, plaid interior to it.
Sick. How did you initially find drifting?
Uh, Probably just, like, Street Fighter or, like, Forza playing with my friends. Um, yeah, stuff like that. Cause I can't remember exactly where it, like, first came to light. Cause like, everyone that, like, was in our little group liked cars, and, like, their older brother liked cars too. One of them had, like, a Civic, so he would take us drag racing, and then we would just get in passenger guy and just, like, you know, so we were always into, like, the scene like that, and then, I'm trying to remember exactly who it was. Like, I know, like, there's this new named Miles Flick, you might have heard his name. He's been around for a long time. His little brother like was my age, right? Miles Flick lived in Florida and he was drifting. His little brother was like, "This is really cool. I'm gonna get a car." And he was like the first kid around us that got like a 240. And then I got a 240, and then like it became a whole thing.
Sick.
And then back then, dude, you could just get like D1 licenses and stuff. Like it was actually really easy because we had like no P, and I don't know. It was really weird. It was just more simple though,
It was
right?
the early days.
Yeah, 100%.
It was like the very early days of US drifting.
Yeah, yeah. And then like so like I used to go to like Nopi and stuff like that, and it was pretty crazy back then.
Yeah. Were you like competing?
Nah,
Just hanging out?
just hanging out and just trying to drive, really.
Say like demos and stuff.
Yeah,
Sick.
yeah, that's a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Wow.
you had to learn how to do everything yourself, I assume.
Yeah, yeah. So like, I just always I've always done it myself, and like, so like I had like a simple job. Like I said, like I've always worked either like I worked at Jiffy Lube, I think, at one point in time. So like that kind of started my automotive job careers because when I was like drifting more, I was like I should have a job that like helps me something because I
Yeah.
used to take tires from the back of places, and I was like, so I try to get hired out of those places, right? So
You're like, can I get a job? Like, weren't you digging through our dumpster yesterday?
well, like that's how I would ask. I'm like, yo, can I get some tires? I would be cool with them, right? And then I was
Yeah.
like, can I get a job? Like, I could do this too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know, dude. Yeah. What else? It's been a long time, so I can say a lot, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, what was like the first pivotal moment in drifting where you're like, all right, it's not just about cars, like drifting is now like everything.
I don't know. I'm like, my personality is like I'm so all in. So like, I guess it's when I stopped skateboarding the most. At some point, I used to be like, I had sponsors and I was like so focused, and like I liked cars, and then like I got a 240 and I was like skating less and less and less and doing more car stuff. And then at some point, I just like stopped skating, and then like I would only like I just felt like I didn't have time. I would go home, work on my car, like get off work on car, weekend event. Like
Yeah.
so like it never seemed like I had time for it. So like I guess at that point it was when I was like, okay, this is my thing now.
Yeah.
But like I guess it was also like since I was like a skater, like it didn't seem like I like switched over to like, oh, this is like my path. I was just like, I'm having fun doing this thing.
Yeah.
Like it didn't,
Yeah. It's super relatable.
yeah. So that was it. I never saw drifting as a career until honestly, like not that long ago, until like all this. When it got to like this year, and I was like, okay, holy fuck, we're doing something.
I don't think anybody like it didn't seem like it could be a career for a
Yeah,
long time.
yeah.
Like just recently it seems like that's like a potential.
Yeah. Like even now to me, I don't even see like I know a lot of people like Formula D. I don't see those drivers making money. So like I'm like to me, I don't like relate like how people are like, that's a career. I'm like, y'all don't know, that's not a career. Like,
Yeah.
being marketable is a career nowadays. That's
Yeah.
like the most important. But
YouTube's a career.
yeah, like
Being
other
a
things.
being a pro driver is not.
No. It helps, but like it helps you drive. Like I think professional drifters, like the people who've been in it for a long time, really love drifting, and they just realize that they can drift for free. Like Forsberg drifts for free, right? Like
Yeah.
that's what he does. That's his career, right? But like he might not make like a load of money where he's like balling out of control. Like he still has to work hard
Yeah.
on his own cars
Yeah.
just to drift for free. Technically,
I think some people are like making money, but it's not like, the amount of hours going in.
That's
like
what
the
I'm
hourly rate is not very
it's
high.
not the time invested into it. Like the time I've invested into the car, like just this one alone is crazy that like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I agree.
But
Yeah. I put a lot of fucking hours in and I'm just like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go crash this into my friends. Like so dumb. But it's for the love of it,
yeah,
Um I don't know like how the whole like garage moon power thing started. Like where was that?
All right. So technically, it's just been like Garage Bean Power started with like the friends that I've had here the whole time that we've been like just hanging out with. And so like at some point in time here in drifting, it like stopped, right? So me and one of my friend Phil, right? Used to be part of something called Heatlining, which you've probably heard of them now. They sell JZX parts now. But like we were part of that like crew. So we were like a drift crew because like, you know, we came up in that generation. So we're like, hell yeah, drift teams, right? And it kind of drifting here like died off. Like we lost events. Like you technically had to drive far away and like really invest your time to drive.
Why was that? Why did it die off here?
Like I guess the people running the events fucked some shit up. We lost some tracks. We technically drifting is banned from like Atlanta. You can't drift or have like a drifting thing in the city of Atlanta. So we used to have those Turner Field events where it's like we all grew up in, and that shit got like stopped, right? So like Lanier wasn't there. We didn't drive Road Atlanta. We don't drive Road Atlanta. Like everyone, we have Road Atlanta. We don't drive Road Atlanta. Like we don't get to do that at all here, right?
Yeah, it's probably crazy money to rent that
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. Like,
Yeah.
they don't. It's like that doesn't happen. So we had like one track called Portillo or like Watermelon Speedway, like a little oval parking lot thing. But then that also got messed up by some people, right? So like we literally had like no tracks and no like organization running them or whatever, right? And like the ones that were around were kind of sketchy. So like it was a
Yeah.
big deal, right? So like we
Yeah.
would have to travel outside of drifting, right? So around this time, like we're building cars, we start meeting Dustin, and he's really into it too, and he's like coming up with us, and we're like showing him the ways, and we were trying to get him into heat lining, and they didn't want to do it, right? They're like, no, and they're like, we're not even drifting, we don't really care that much. So then we were like, okay, so then we just my car and Phil's car were already painted this new color. So everyone's car was like burgundy. But me and Phil like painted it nice burgundy because everyone was like a single stage cheap burgundy. And then we like bought dual stage like pearl, like made our cars look fancy, right? Like
Yeah, look good.
right.
Yeah.
So then we were painted that color and we were like, I'm not about to spend more money like changing my color when I actually spend a lot of money making the color, right? So then we just ended up getting Dustin to paint his car. And then that whole entire time, I had like a little side crew with Garage Moon Power, which is like the kids that like we all have drifting friends that don't have cars, right? They're like, might get a car later on, and then eventually you're a part of the crew, right? Like,
Yeah.
so we have like a lot of those friends. That was like Garage Moon Power. So like we have a lot of just homies to hang out and like help build the cars or like help at events, like so like I was just like, why don't we just transition like from this heat lining? Why don't you guys just become Garage Boom Power and then we like start this thing? And at that point in time, like one of the Garage Boom Power members worked at this like mat company, right? And he's like, yo, we can make these mats. And we made a prototype and we were like, oh shit. And I was like, I have this sticker that we got made for like our little crew. What if we just put it on there and try to sell it? So we did. And then it worked out, right? So then at that time, we're like, well, let's make the drift team Garage Boom Power. We kind of have like a following already, it's like something already. So like, let's actually just focus on that. And then we did. And then like years later, we like won Final Bout or whatever. But like, it was just like a transition like that. It's kind of just been friends then hanging out. And then it became a drift team whenever our like other drift team didn't want Dustin in it. So we were like, no, that's our boy. And let's just, that's literally the
Yeah.
story.
That's how I feel like that's how all teams should start. Like
Yeah.
like organic, like friends. Like we'll start a drift team, fuck it. It doesn't like have to have any crazy meaning, like just like
No.
just like a name for the crew. And
Yeah, the name is technically like my girlfriend's like super into like Sailor Moon and stuff like that. And like we literally always work on our cars at night because we all have like full-time jobs. So we get home 5, 6, and it starts to get dark, and we work on it. So it's like the garage beam power thing was like, okay,
That's so sick.
that's what it made like.
Yeah, that's cool. I really like
Yeah.
that.
So that's where like it came from. And then that was like way before I had an R32 or whatever, but I always looked up to Abo Moon. So like everyone's like, oh, Abo Moon, like, yeah. But that's where like it all started. And like we have a lot of people, like we have like all the S12 guys that have like really cool S12s, and like Armin, and like it's like a very organic, like even like my significant other drives and stuff like that. So
Yeah. Yeah. I never really put together that like you have like seems like a lot of inspiration from Abo Moon and your team.
yeah. Or like we kind of don't, but like it kind of just happened when I got my R32. So like the
Yeah.
R32 just blended it together. Like it was
Yeah.
just like okay, the name and stuff like that. And I didn't even want that car, to be honest. I was selling my car to buy a Cephiro, an SR power Cephiro. I like really wanted that. Like I wanted an SR Cephiro so bad. And I like parted my car and tried to buy one, and it sold out. And then I was just like, ah. And then like a local friend had like the R32. He's like, yo. I was like, okay, I'm gonna get this
You're like,
thing.
all right,
Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, I really like that car.
yeah. But like simple car.
Yeah.
I really like that car too.
Yeah, you don't need a lot.
Mm,
Especially like back then, like a 32 wasn't like crazy money, especially like
no.
yeah.
That Type S, like full options and everything was like 10 grand, and that was like pretty cheap compared, I think, to now.
Yeah. Were you always painting cars? Like did you start doing paint work right away, or like what was like the progression of stuff? Was it just like basic mechanic things and then
It's always been like a style factor, to be honest. So like I might have not painted them like super nice, but like I'll spray paint it and like make it look like one color and like try my best to make it look nice. And then like I got a little air compressor at one point, and like, painted my engine bay to look nice and painted trinkets to look nice. So it's always been like, man, look at these cars that I really look up to. I'm working my way to that like situation. Like I think with everything, it's like, I think when you get an S chassis, or at least when we got S chassis back in the day, there wasn't much information on drifting. So you kind of just had to like do things. So
yeah.
you just like took your car apart and you just start figuring things out. And then like you eventually figure out the tie rod lanes and the, like the maximas and stuff like that. Like I remember asking my friends to cut knuckles. Like, yo, we need to do this. And then I remember like the same friends being like, hey, let's cut knuckles this way and let's make them roll center correction and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So like we like went through that progression. Like I couldn't weld then, but like I had friends that could, and I was just like, yo, let's make it happen. So like it's always been like this chase of like building the car that's really cool. And like if I can't afford it, I usually just try to do it myself or figure it out. I think usually it's cheaper for me to like learn or buy the materials than it is to do it. I don't know.
Yeah. It's all like by necessity.
Yeah, it's usually how it goes, to be honest. It's like I really want to have a cool car, and it's either if somebody would have told me when I was younger that go be an engineer and then you can have a really cool car because you just have like a different career, I would have listened. But like I was so focused on like I need a cool car, I'm gonna do it myself, that like I just like started to do it instead of like if I would have listened or like went the other way and just paid somebody to build this, like this thing, you just pay somebody else to build it, you could have like a really cool car.
If you could go back, would you?
Yeah, to be honest. I, I don't know. I feel all the time that I'm like so burnt out from cars, but like I have other hobbies that I try to like focus time into, so I like don't burn myself out from that.
Yeah, what's that trick? Like what are you doing to like save yourself from burning out? Cuz I think that's really common in drifting. Like you'll see dudes just go fucking hard and then like you won't see him for like 2 years, you know.
Yeah, and that's usually the thing, that they do that and then they immediately find something else and they just focus on that because it's like, whoa, I could actually do something else. But like you should be balancing your life out to like, And then that's something that I'm like learning now because I'm like, I really like the cars and the drifting and I want to continue to do it. So I'm like, okay, how do I not burn myself out? Because at one point, I built this car in like 6 months, and then the case swap took like 2 years because like I was so burnt out on trying to have the car done so fast that I was just like, okay, what am I rushing for?
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason. Like, it's gonna be there. Like, I'm like literally, So I like took my time, and then I like progressed and I like learned things, and I'm like, let me take more time. So like, I guess that's like I just realized maybe this card has been teaching me that because there's so many little things that I like took a long time building on it that like it taught me like it's okay for me to like not drive every event, but like you can still drive a couple events a year. Because at some point I was like, I need to drive more than once every month, like, and
Yeah, it's that
16,
addiction.
yeah, and like 16 events a year is like a big deal. Like if you don't think about it, like it's like a lot
Yeah.
of work to be able to like, and that's just like 1 or 2 events a month, and that's not even that much. So like it gets, it burns you out. But
Yeah. What have you found that like helps like ease things
uh,
other than just taking your time?
I like have spent time on like all the other hobbies that like I neglected. Like I started skating again.
Sick.
I
Yeah.
started riding bikes. Um, I like to do art and stuff like that. So like I put time aside for those things again. Like when I used to do that, but then I like, oh no, I gotta go home and work my car. And now I like don't necessarily do that. Like last night I was like, I got things I gotta do. I might not want to do a podcast.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, you guys like, but like before I would have been like, no, like let's cram it all out. And like another big thing, this might be not crazy. I try to not watch drifting or car like videos or like
Interesting.
I don't watch a lot of like automotive. I watch automotive YouTube, but I don't watch drifting YouTube. Like I don't even watch like options anymore. Like I try like I've seen them and like I like try to like calm that down. It's like there's so much of it and I've fed my brain so much of it for so long that I'm like I don't need to look at it every day.
You're like, I got it.
Yeah,
You're
like
like,
it's
I
like
have downloaded this.
yeah, like it's like, oh, okay, I know exactly what that era of car looks like. What like okay, I don't have to rewatch the same DVD like 20 times.
Yeah. No shade on Adam.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I've told him. I'll walk in and be like, "How do you do this? Like,
Yeah.
you come home and you do this." I'm like, I
Yeah.
would, but like he has like outlets. He plays video games and does other things that have nothing to do with cars. So like,
Yeah.
he knows there's a balance there too. But like, yeah, like he like lives, breathes like that stuff. But then he doesn't drive as much like you and I, so he's not like you and I are addicted to having this car done for this event, right?
Yeah.
Well, Adam is addicted to the knowledge of drifting, right? Like, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
Adam really likes you. Like, I know what this car is gonna look like next, and I go, Adam, I need you to send me pictures of this car, and he will like send me all the pictures of it, just for me telling him. Like, I don't even have to be specific, and like, I'm like, okay, cool, yeah, that's how I'm gonna paint my car and do it up next because like,
Yeah. What a resource.
yeah, dude, he's
Yeah.
crazy with that. Like, so like his addiction is that. So like maybe that's where like he can always be on that and not like get away from it.
Yeah.
While like you and I are like always on it and physically always on it.
Yeah. I feel like that's really good advice. I feel like being on social media and like only following drift people just like perpetuates that like being in it too much and
Yeah,
like
yeah,
not getting a break.
exactly. Like, yeah. If I scroll through my feed right now, it's like minimal drifting and it's like a lot of my other hobbies that show up most.
Yeah.
And like I won't find out like car stuff till like later on.
Yeah.
Like or
Someone will
like
like tell you about it.
Adam will come in like "Blah, blah, blah, blah," and I'm like, oh what? And then he'll have to send me the thing and then now I know and I'm like, oh shit, now we're deleting people.
Fuck. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild.
So yeah.
Yeah. We won't get into that
Yeah,
one.
no, It's crazy. That's why you shouldn't be on the internet that much.
Yeah. Save yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think I've been doing this so long that I just like think I want to keep doing it for longer. So like for me to be able to do that, it's like I need to think about that, like do I need to come home and like immediately put on a drifting video when I like literally been working on a drift car all day? Or like do I need to come home
No.
and watch another build video about another drift car when I've been like I can't. Like I've had conversations about this with other people. They're like, "Oh, why don't like," they start talking to me about like drifting YouTubers, and I'm like, "I don't relate or follow them." And they're like, "Well, you do." And I'm like, "I do because I do the same thing every day, but doesn't mean that I like want to watch it or
Yeah.
like like if you're doing something completely different, I'll like enjoy it. But like if your content is just like this is a drift car that gets built the same way for the fifth time, I probably don't watch that at all."
Yeah, that one's hard for me. I don't understand that one either. But I think it's because we're like living that life. We don't need to like live vicariously.
That's how I explained it to literally somebody the other day. But like they're also very big in the cars. They're like, "Oh, but like you should do it." And I was like,
You can learn in this, but like
yeah,
I'm
like
like, I just yeah, I'm good.
yeah, that's literally I was like, I literally said I don't feel like I'm learning or like I'm just watching this repetitive thing. I also feel like drifting YouTubers all have the same like recipe and they just all do it. So like when you watch one, you kind of seen them all. Which I guess is YouTube algorithm. So, like, you have to, like, do that so you can survive.
Yeah. It's their job.
Yeah, and that's, like, what I said to him, like, that was my I was like, "Yo, if that's your job, like, kudos to you," and, like, I usually end up liking all those people in real life way more and have more in-depth conversations with them
Absolutely.
than like, I do watching their YouTubes, like, I don't
I'm with you 100%.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
But
I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen any of your videos, but you're cool.
that's it happens all the time, I'm like or, like, I'll meet people and they're, like, supposed to be huge, and I'm like, "I don't know who you are."
Yeah, that's because you just I feel like you're like really passionate about like a specific like style of drifting
Yeah.
and like car build, and there's not like I don't know, there's not like a ton of like it's a niche like subculture.
Yeah, 100%.
Like flake and like lowrider paint style and like mixed with like wild arrow and like crazy engine bays and stuff like that's like a very like small group of people who can do stuff like that and also like want to like
Yeah.
it's a wild style
Yeah,
like
it's full on,
yeah
especially to do, like, correct.
yeah
And, like, all that, like, when people kinda wonder where that idea comes from, it's, like, where you have to remember, like, we came up from, like, no P and, like, when we first started into cars, they're, like, the the subcultures were, like, mini trucks and, like,
yeah
stuff like that, so anything that was kinda, like even imports were, like, first, like, super crazy paint jobs and, like, crazy body panels modifications and, like, these crazy show cars, so, like, that's it, like that's what's in my brain,
yeah those are the
like
magazines that we
yeah,
had.
like
I was like super into the ice like culture and like the
yeah,
UK and all like hatches with like crazy sound systems and kits
yeah,
and
dude, this is where I'm saying, like, some of our friends used to take us back when we were little, and, like, we had some friends that have had, like, crazy Nopi builds, and, like, it's, like, a whole entire car that's, like, completely redone. It's, like, it's a Civic hatchback, but it's got Acura front end, S15
yeah
taillights, and, like, the interior is, like, completely redone in fiberglass with a crazy system. It's, like, that's the stuff that, like, we came, so, like, slowly we try to blend it into, like, our own thing.
yeah
Plus, it's also, like, what the Japanese dudes have done, and, like, if you look at their cars, they've all had, like, candy paint jobs and, like, roof stuff, and because they're inspired by the same thing that we are. We just don't even understand it, but they're looking at the same lowriders, they're saying, like,
yeah
stuff that we're like, "Whoa, I want candy too."
yeah
Which is I know, it's really cool. It's really cool, and, like, drifting is really cool, especially now where we're at nowadays because you can there's so many subcultures into drifting that you can kinda, like, find a place kind of easy. Um, Before it wasn't kind of like that. When drifting was first growing up, we just had like everyone was learning, you know. So even though we didn't have like I don't want to call them like style cars because just because D-Max came to America, people had D-Max didn't mean they were like trying to be stylish. They were just put
That's
in
what's available.
that was what the yeah, right. So like that's just what you're doing. So it's like we had rear wheels because they were cheap. We didn't try to like, you know, we were just imitating like this cool cars or whatever. So it wasn't like, oh, style. It was just Japanese drifting is supposed to look like this.
Yeah.
I honestly never thought there was two sides of drifting until like the big pro-am push, the big like American side of like Formula D
Yeah.
came around, and that's when I was like, okay, because now there's people who are into drifting for only competitive side of it, do not care at all about like a Japanese or like an old car, right? They don't.
Yeah.
They just want to go
They didn't
win.
watch the Drift Bible.
No, they don't care a bit about that.
Yeah.
So they're like, that's when you're like, oh, okay. That's to me, it's whenever like that started to blend and we started having missiles and stuff like that. But like pre that, cars were just being built. Like pro cars were just like cool looking
Drift cars.
cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you know, and then at some point they're like, okay. I don't know what changed to be honest, but like
I think it started getting eyes from like I think once people learned about drifting not from like because it's like your first interaction with it is what's important. It's like your first like this is what drifting is.
yeah,
Like if you go to FD and it's like because like in the early years of FD like signal was there.
yeah.
You know, there's like like
I
just
mean,
like unbelievable cars and then there'd be like, you know, like El Camino or whatever and you're like that
yep.
doesn't really fit with the rest of these. But then as time went on it was like okay, well no more El Caminos, but like we are going to have like Mustangs and this and it's like if you're just like a dude who likes to burn rubber, you know,
Yeah,
and like wants to go check out this like drifting thing and you go see like Vaughn getting in a RTR Mustang, you're like,
yeah.
that's what drifting is. Like I don't want to learn the history.
The
Like
domestic side kill drifting.
I mean, it's just different.
It
Like
is 100%.
yeah. And like in a way it does feel like FD going to like Southeast Asia and like Japan and stuff feels a little like weird to me because it's like you took that from them and then you're going back there and you're gonna like make drifting in Japan what you think it is in the US. Like that kind of is like a little odd for people like us who like there wasn't drifting. Like drifting was just Japanese drifting. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, but look how big it is now though, right? Especially from where it came.
Yeah. Which is
So,
cool.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it needs to happen.
Yeah, so like
There could be different avenues and stuff.
yeah. And that's a that's like a big part of like a thing that like I guess people might not see about me because of the way that I build cars because they just see like a stylish car. But like I'm a big fan of like all aspects of drifting. So like my whole entire time I've never wanted to be an FD driver, but all my friends have, and I've always been like so supportive that like I've always been crews. Like I've ran multiple FD seasons and like events with multiple different people because like drifting is so cool. Like you don't. It's hard to. It might be hard to explain to somebody like who's all like the style up, but like to see like Osbo's car like be in line and literally squat down and take off and have so much mechanical grip out of a front wheel drive Corolla that they like made drifting, it's like mechanically so cool. Like if you actually like just like things, that is so cool. Like Formula D is so cool in like that aspect of like it is really racing. It's like so like I've always loved that side of it. Like
Yeah, that's cool.
so like
I've
and
never thought about it like that. Like I never thought about like damn they like really took like a fucking economy car and turned it into like a
dude like
full blown race car.
championship winning. It's crazy to watch that car go. It's crazy to see those dudes blow up an engine and take it out in 45 minutes and be ready to go back again in line. Like it's crazy to see that. Like and you don't like somebody like we're building cool cars like this, we never expect something. Like, you don't think like that, right? So you're
Yeah.
like, I'm not gonna ever blow up my engine and have it, but they do, and it's like, this is why I really like drifting. Like, it's hard for me to just say I like style drifting because I really like just drifting. Because if you like that's just like RTR and like all those dudes are that way. Like Vaughn had a sick as Sylvia.
Yeah.
Obviously he got money and RTR gave him a car and like that created a whole career. But like they've engineered so much stuff because they really love drifting also that it's crazy. But two different aspects of drifting though, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, then this thing's got like
So that's why this
It's
thing's
got-
about though, because I've done multiple years of FD and like I'm sitting there like literally I was at the last round in FD, like Irwinville or whatever, and I don't remember what I was looking at, but I remember Garage D Friends, and I was like, man, I want to build another car. And I immediately said, okay, I know what I want to build. I want an S14 and I want it to look like this. Like immediately, because I remember those cars and like it was just like, I'm gonna do this. On like the drive back, I like bought the shell from one of my friends and stuff like that, and like ordered the arrow and like
you just had it in your head what
yeah,
it's gonna look like done.
like immediately. Like I already knew. Same thing with my R32. Like when like I wanted the Zephyr and I was like R32, I was like, okay, I don't want to do that, but I was like, okay, like
I got the vision.
yeah, like you just look at Abo's car. I'm like, okay, BN Sports, this, cool paint, done. And like it literally is that simple. It's crazy that people don't understand that you can literally look at like most of Animal Sauce cars. Like if I just do that, I can have a cool car. If I can do like Naoki's car, if I just do that, people.
It's hard to tie it all together though. It's all about the execution.
That's that okay,
But that's
and
the art.
and this is where people always think just cool parts make style, but it does not. You can have fake parts, fake wheels, but you can have a stylish car as long as like you have the correct execution. There's been times where I judging if Final Bout, I haven't known that was like a fake arrow or fake wheels because from far away, like the car overall's presence is good. So you're just like, man, you don't like nitpick. Oh, like is this actual?
Yeah.
But then there's cars that have full name brand everything and they look whack because nothing fits correctly. The wheels don't match, like. But like that's a big deal. You're right. Like, but I guess I've always been like that though. I've always been like, you take inspiration from these people or from these things and make something pretty. And like
that's like the definition of a creative, of an artist, is like you take inspiration from a lot of places and you take things from the past and the future and you put them all in one place. Like that's a skill set,
I don't call myself that or see myself that way. So it just,
Yeah.
like thinking about it later on, like, yeah, like,
I
okay,
fucking
like,
disagree with you. I'll tell
Yeah,
you right now.
yeah, sure now, but like midst all this stuff happening, I'm not thinking like I'm an artist. This is the way I think, blah, 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 blah. I'm just like doing
I want to
things.
build cool shit.
Yeah, like,
yeah.
like I'm never like, when this whole car came to fruition in my brain, it was literally, I want this car for myself. It was never like,
if I do this, people like
yeah,
it.
like it was never like a mentality. And I'm gonna say this is big important. Don't build a car for a specific thing. Don't build a car for Final Bout. Build a car for yourself. And if that car is good enough to be in Final Bout, hell yeah. But like, don't go, oh my God, I need to focus. That's how you end up with a bad car.
Yeah. If I get these wheels and
Yeah,
this arrow, those are cool.
Yeah.
Like people will think it's cool.
No. Build a cool car because you think it's cool. Go like, wow, I want this specific arrow because it looks cool, like, or because this specific guy somewhere like makes it. At least that to me is cool. Like, don't. Oh, everyone else is running this brand right now. I'm gonna do it too. You don't have to.
Yeah, I think it's hard to find. I don't know. It's not like a skill everybody has. Like, not everybody can imagine something and then create it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
You can't. Not everybody can like visualize something and then go like execute it.
Yeah.
It's
hard for me to understand that because that's how my brain works. But yes,
I'm with you. I'm the same.
I'm like, what do you mean?
Every time I've like done a car, I like have it's like a blueprint in my head.
Yeah,
I'm
like
okay.
you know what it's gonna look like.
Yeah,
And it helps because then you like have this goal, so then you're actually pushing towards something. You're not just like randomly doing something.
Yeah, what's it feel like when you have that vision in your head and like something doesn't come out the way that you were like, do you just can you not sleep and redo it or like
I usually just move on, to be honest. Or like at the same time, I'm like, and I'm do this with like other parts of like my life where like I've always told people not be afraid to fail. So like,
mm,
and like, I like to do art or whatever. I like to do graffiti and like not being afraid of fucking it up, making it look bad, and knowing like I could just redo it. It's like something that like you have to learn or like
embrace the flaws?
yeah, because like if if not, like you might be yourself. Like I do, and like I'll look at this and be like, man, I should have took more time here and there and there. But like when I step back, I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Like
Yeah.
I don't like, like I don't know. So you have to like try to you gotta be not be afraid to fail. And then that's like with life and everything, I guess. And like if you do have a vision that like, it might not play out like I've painted some like stuff when I first started to learn to paint where like the colors didn't look correctly and like it just didn't match. I mean, this thing was it came out green when I first painted it, but like the color that I wanted it to be was this teal. And then I had the lady mixed me a candy. I came here, I sprayed a part of it, and I was like, "Wow, this is amazing." I came back, I was like, "I need more." She's like, "I don't know what I did. I'm gonna try again."
Oh no.
Yeah, so then I came up and it ended up being a green candy, right? Which is cool. I wasn't too mad, but like I just let it be. It faded into the color that I like. So I'm like, cool, you know?
Yeah. You guys already know where we're at. We're at Koruworks with Sebastian. We're just going to do a quick ad. Koruworks is an amazing place. They showed me a great time. It's skate shop vibes. It's good people coming by all day, building cool cars, and people who just absolutely love drifting. If you want to support them, you should. It's a great place to buy stuff from. You can get aero kits. They got Origin Lab in stock. They got all kinds of good stuff. Or head in there and have them build you a car. Koruworks is a community hub. They're good people. But if you're listening to this podcast, you probably know that. Check them out at Koruworks.com. Fuel Lab's the spot to go. Fuel Lab makes the greatest fuel equipment on the planet Earth. Fuel Lab, I heard, actually built all those UAPs that are flying over the US. Allegedly. Fuel Lab, they got some sick engineers over there. They got some big brain motherfuckers over there. And they're going to make your car so fast that you're not even going to be able to handle it. Guess what? Prove me wrong. Put some Fuel Lab in your car and show me who's boss. Fuel Lab, code Goodest for 15% off. I run it. The boys run it. D1 drivers are running it now. Fuel Lab. Get pumped. Hello, all you cool cats and kittens. Tiger King isn't cool anymore, but you know what is? Tire Streets. Head on over. Get yourself some Vitours. Get yourself some Acceleras. Get the 351s. The meaty 351s. I've been running those. I like them a lot. Check out what they got. I think I'm probably going to run Vitours up front, 351s in the rear a bit this year. I'm excited to try that out. It's going to be a good time. And as you know, link in the description gets you a discount. But if you want that hot fire discount, add Goodest 651 during checkout. Get yourself even more savings. And it works on different stuff now. It's not just the 651s. Tire Streets, they're here to help you drift or put tires on your parents' car.
Can't win them all.
No. Yeah, definitely not. All the little details are tough, but I feel like if you have like the execution down, like you can have a couple failures and the car will still be sick.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, for sure.
Did you ever think that you would be like a, consistent judge for Final Bout?
Not at all. I honestly never thought that like any of that would happen. I never like, nah. I never even thought we would win. Like, to be honest. All that was just kind of like, whoa, this is crazy. Cause it was always kind of like Final Bout gave us a place for the people who like always like style to be like, hey, we have an event to go to, right? So then it gave us a place to go. I never looked at it like, I'm gonna go win Final Bout.
Yeah.
Like we never like thought about it that way. We're like, we're gonna go look cool at Final Bout. We're
Yeah.
gonna like, that was our that was us. So
That's how we did it last year. Like, we're just gonna go put on a show and see what happens. Like,
I thought you guys were gonna. I was rooting so bad for you guys. I thought you guys were gonna win, dude.
Aaron got heat stroke
I
on like
know,
the last
dude.
thing, and just like he's like, I literally like he was like crying.
Dude,
His whole body.
I
like,
was saying, I was
locked
like,
up.
something's wrong with him. He's like on the e-brake. Like, why is he? I don't know.
He said he couldn't. He said he lost like his legs.
That's crazy.
And he's like, I like the second run. He just had to drive off. He's like, I was gonna fucking hit you. Like, I couldn't stop the car.
That's scary, but like, that's a situation.
At the same time, like, I don't really like care. Like, none of us really cared that much. Like, we just wanted to go put on a show and have fun and drive with the boys, you know. And like, I think that's like another really good mentality to go into stuff with. Like,
but that's how you guys almost won though, because you guys literally didn't go like, oh, we're gonna go win. You know, you guys might have had a strategy about like, yo, let's go put on a show. Let's show people how we're gonna like drive our best with like a strategy. Maybe not like we're winning this, but like, hey, let's go make sure people know we can like do this very cool. That was our strategy. Like whenever we drove, Phil was just supposed to look back at the hairpin every time. And if we weren't stacked, he was supposed to stop drifting or slow down and reinitiate.
That's hella smart.
So then once we come out, like, and we're in front of everybody, we're at least kind of like together. So like there was a couple of times where he did because I was behind and in the hairpin we're stacked up but
yeah, you guys like came out swinging that year.
Yeah, that year was a roller coaster of emotions. We almost didn't go. Like,
really?
Yeah.
Why?
So our first dog, I guess second dog, passed away the night before. Like me and Phil were roommates, and my significant other Sandra lived with us here or whatever, right? So we came home. Me and Phil used to work together at DIY Auto Tune. We came home and we heard like a weird noise, and then we like went out the front door, and then we only saw like one of our dogs, Blue, and he was like at the back door acting weird. And then we were like, "Where's the other dog?" And like we went looking for him. He was like curled up, like kind of like looking dead and like covered in blood. So like we like picked him up and like ran off, and like we were like leaving. As soon as we're like about to get off the neighborhood, my significant other's pulling in, and we were like literally just get the fuck in the car, like. And she's like, "What is going on?" Like she didn't even know. So she got in the car and we're like, "Yeah." So we took him to a vet, and we don't really know what happened to him. Something like attacked him in the inside. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like we don't know. So like that was literally like the night before. Like we were supposed to leave the next night. Like we spent the night before at the vet, like all night, and then we came home like the next day, like very unsure. And like this is where like the friends and stuff come into play, because like everyone was like, "Nah, you guys need to come." We're like helping out, like all our friends to help load the cars and stuff like that, because we've been like at the vet or whatever. And yeah, we just went. So like it was crazy roller coaster emotions. Like I didn't think we were gonna win. Like I didn't even want to be there, but like
yeah,
everything just like lined up. Yeah,
traumatic thing that just happened to you.
Yeah,
and you're just like, okay, I'm just gonna drive.
Yeah, which is like it makes the win like really weird because it's like attached to this like bad memory. So it's like hard to like enjoy it because it's like damn, but like it was a really cool thing, which is like a positive thing. You know, he might have passed and gave us, you know, a little push, helped us out or whatever. But yeah, that was a crazy situation.
Damn.
Yeah. So like it made that whole event like really special. But
yeah. What when they approached you to judge Final Bout?
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think everyone else was ready to drive. Like I didn't have a team. I think the last year we did was with Mikey. I was kind of building this car. It was me, Mikey, and Phil. And Dustin's been doing Formula D. And now like kind of sadly the schedule lines up with there being an event like that weekend.
Yeah.
So, or like the weekend after or whatever. So like he technically can't be there, which is cool. But so then I don't have a team, So maybe at some point he was like, "Hey, do you want to judge?" And or I think he might have asked me like, "Are you guys driving this year?" And I was just like, "I don't think anybody else is driving, but I want to drive."
Yeah. He's like, "You want to judge?"
Yeah, and he was like, "You want to judge?" And I was like, "Yes."
Do you enjoy like looking at all the cars?
Yeah, I really nerd out. It's really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I did it once. It's so much work.
It's a full day. It's
Yeah.
like, dude, it is hours. It is a full day. Last event over 100 cars, dude. It is so much.
Yeah, and you have to judge them on like 4 criteria each.
Yeah. It's a lot. And
Yeah.
then a lot sometimes they're not there and we have to go running looking for them and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It's such a good experience to be there. I really enjoy it. It's fun to still be part of Final Bout, like one way or another, to be honest.
You also get to like do your homework on like cool stuff that people have done or find things. Yeah. I found it really interesting. It made me like, this sounds kind of shitty, but like when I judged, it made me feel better about my car because I was like, oh, the engine bay in this car sucks. Like
100%. There's so much stuff where you're like, dude.
be like, this is the sickest car ever, like from the exterior, but like other than that,
You're like, whoa.
it's pretty basic. Like,
Dude, on that same statement, the amount of FD cars that I've seen and had the same like
feeling
behind, it's crazy. I'm like, dude, they let you drive this here? Like, how did you pass tech? Like, what? It's crazy.
It's just like wiring or what? Like,
Everything, dude. We've helped some cars out, like just because they have to, like, obviously Road Atlanta's around, and since we're like a big FD shop, we've had people come here and like do stuff before and after, and I've just seen a lot of cars, and then like this is where it's crazy because we took Dustin's car and kept the same mentality and build, but then like made the pro stuff mentality behind it, and to see other cars be much lesser, it's crazy because you're like, damn, you don't realize, I guess, how far ahead we are. Like, I don't think about it, but like, I could build like a full race car that's not just like a crappy race car. Like,
I think I could probably build a crappy race car, but
yeah, but like, you probably can do a lot better than some FD cars, dude. You'd be surprised. Like, I've seen your car. I judged your car. It wasn't nowhere near half. Dude, like you've seen Japanese wine. I've seen some of that in like FD cars. And like, dude, you're supposed to fix this in like 5 minutes. Like, you have no time. Like, how do you? It's crazy. How do you spend $120,000 a year on a season? Like, you just spend it on the season, not even the car build or anything that you have. And like, your car, it's just always breaking. It's crazy to me.
yeah, just like stock LS wiring harness with like a Holly plugged in and like random stuff going everywhere.
Or like a fancy ECU and a fancy harness, but they just like bought a whole bunch of things, and it's just like it's like, buying nice things but not executing it correctly. It's the same overall thing. It's just like they bought all the stuff, but they might not know how to do it, and they just throw it all in there, and it's just like, dude, there's levels to it.
I heard stories about like old FD teams like putting lower control arms on upside down, like all kinds of like left and right backwards and all
Yeah.
kinds of wild stuff.
You'd be surprised. You'll also be surprised at some of the crazy like modifications that some of the things have that people might not do. Like, I don't know if this is not very common in the regular S chassis world, but most Pro S chassis have like their lower control arm points modified. So they'll have like one on the bottom and one on top. So like, how S14 has like anti-squat and S13 has like no anti-squat, and people like sell that relocation. So people have that already like made. So like So like an S14, like I know for a fact there's Y-Spab S14s out there that have that in them, so you can get rid of anti-squat, you can add more anti-squat and stuff like that.
Interesting.
Yeah. So like this is where, to me, like drifting is just so cool because like watching like James Dean drive is crazy, and then like seeing the setup of the car, and then you're like, it's not too crazy, and then you see another car, another person with the same car not do anywhere near as good as him, and you're like, what's the difference? You know, is he actually just that good, or like
Is it car setup?
is the car setup, or like? But then like you have to get even more nerdy. James Dean has all his like weight balance very specific because like I don't know if you guys think about this, but like having weight behind your rear axle makes your car slide backwards. Having weight in front of it makes your car like grip up forward. So like whenever you're throwing it back, if you have more weight behind it, you can make it slide. Or if you have it in front of it, it'll give you forward grip. So
Yeah.
like that's like a very big thing.
So I just had a conversation about this with Yota
Okay.
from Splash,
Yeah.
and he was like, at Mahon, the preferred car is a 13 because the
that.
fuel tank
It's
is behind the rear
It makes you
wheels.
slide backwards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's like, you can ride the wall longer
Yeah.
with your weight behind the rear wheels.
That's why they all like S chassis there, or like Sylvia's there.
Yeah.
But like, all right, this is another reason this is a big comment or a big topic, and I know, but this is another reason why you should like drifting into all aspects and not just one specific thing, because there's people who build cars for one track, not the whole like
World.
everything.
Yeah.
There's literally one track that they build their cars for specifically. So what their setup might not work like at a different track, you know, like you might have to tweak yours a little bit different. You know, same thing with like pro cars, like same reason why James Dean in the same car that like Odie drives technically has won multiple championships. Odie hasn't won one, right? Like it's very learning how to like, and this is why like I nerd out about drifting, because like this is why Formula D is cool, and like learning all those things, right? So like you might not know that and not realize that that's why all those Mihan people have S13s, because it makes it easier to drive Mihan. So it makes it easier for you to look cool on Mihan if you have an S13. If you have an S14, you're trying harder, or the car has more front grip, you know? So like, but if you get an S14 and put some weight back there, I bet he would be able to do the same thing.
Yeah, so I put my fuel cell like on an E36. It's
Yeah.
usually in front of the rear
Yeah.
wheels, and I put my like fuel lab setup like behind in the like spare tire wall.
Yeah.
And I noticed like when it's full,
Yeah.
like the car will just hang backwards better.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that's
Yeah.
cool. But it also like on like shallow angle or like slightly more than shallow angle, it'll like wash out a little bit more.
Yep.
So I'm like, oh, okay.
It has that float feeling way easier. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to tell somebody. I was like, S14s don't have that because they don't have the weight back there. So you don't feel like you're floating, but you do, but like it's not the same. They can come on the throttle and wants to suck me in forward more than like an S chassis or like an S13. It's
Yeah.
crazy, right? Like,
Yeah. And you learned all this from like FD stuff.
not just FD, it's just because I like nerd out. Like, to be honest, like I super nerd out like about Mihan spec, but like I understand how they're doing their cars. It's for that. So in my brain, for me to like set my car up for one track doesn't click. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't need to do that when my car can drive the same or different, or like I can achieve similar things without having go full like this spec. And like, and that goes with like FD, right? It's like I don't have full YSAV on this car because I don't necessarily need to do that because of the way that I want to drive. It's not like I still want to have that snappiness. I don't need to do
Yeah.
that like that FD just full angle kind of thing, like the
Yeah.
YSAV kind of look, right?
Right.
But so like I know that, so this thing still has like a cut and knuckle version, so I can still, but then it has like grippy rear knuckles because I want grip. So like there's like a balance.
Yeah.
All right, like that's what I try to do. I try to get really weird like that, where like I like balance things out, or like I like try different things. And I've also learned that I'm like very adaptive. So like I can jump in your car and drive it, and then I'm gonna learn how to drive it the way that I drive. I don't like necessarily drive it to like the setup that it has.
Yeah.
that makes sense.
That makes sense. I get that.
So like, I don't know. So like to me, it's like, like it's weird to try to like I kind of just end up setting the car the way that I like think it feels good just for me instead of like a specific thing. Because I've like tried it. Like I have like Geomaster, like fancy GK Tech things for this in the front, and I don't know. And like my girlfriend's car's got like chopped cut knuckles. Greg car has like chopped knuckles. So like, but when I drive all those cars, I always end up driving the same.
Yeah.
I don't like. I don't feel like I drove different. It's weird.
What was your did you have like any goals in drifting? Like did you want to or have you just been kind of like riding it out this whole time?
Yeah, dude. I didn't. mm, Yeah. I never saw it as a career thing. Like my goal was to have a cool car. So whenever like I built a car and I'm like, this is cool. Well, that was like, so like finishing this car was a goal. Like finishing my R32 was a goal. But like even when I had the R32, had like little stages. It was never like this is the overall. So like I think this is the only car that I actually had like, okay, I want it to look like this. And also my coupe. I knew I wanted D-Max and like the Mihan spec, which is funny.
Yeah. How do they how does this drive like compared to that car? Like what have you changed on setup wise? Like or do they feel pretty similar?
It feels pretty similar. The only thing that this has is electric power steering, and it makes like I don't it like makes me doubt myself a lot.
Interesting.
Like that's the only thing that I feel like I've had with this car. And it had a bad alignment and like a bad coilover, so I like made it like I didn't know that was the problem. So like I was like messing up a lot. And then I like changed it all up and that was good. Um I enjoy my R32 more than I enjoy this car. Really.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What it just because it's more simple or
Yeah. It just felt more like I just got it and like went. Well, this thing is like, I put it inside and I'm like, I gotta like turn it on, like let it run.
yeah.
But like the R32 is the same because they're like built engine, but like I'm more I'm more worried. Like it's because I've built every inch of this car, so like every inch I'm like, is that gonna fall off? Did I tighten that? Instead of like my R32, I just put an engine and some stuff on it, and like it
Yeah.
doesn't feel like I built the whole car.
I
I
can
guess,
relate to that.
yeah, I guess that's
Yeah, when I'm doing some like spicy shit, I'm always like, yeah, I built this.
yeah.
Like, is it gonna stay together?
You're sideways. You're like, I'm
Yeah.
going really fast right now. Is that smart? Am I actually safe and like touching my harness? I'm like, did I bolt this up? But yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed building the car though. Like it was really fun to try to do like this pro car, like build it and be able to do it, and like even though it's like if you took the livery off and like painted it something else and made it maybe put a different body kit on, it will just be like a pro-am car. Like, um it still looks cool. So it has like a feeling to it. It has like it doesn't just like it didn't fit in with a just FD like look. It has
Yeah.
still like its own character within the things that I like.
Was the goal? Was this supposed to be?
Yeah, like I built it because of that. So like I was saying, so like we were last round in Formula 3. I'm like super hyped up on these cars, and I'm like, all right, I want to build something. Like I've never actually was like I'm gonna like build it all myself. Like I like I built the cage, first cage I built like this thing. So like I got it was like the mentality to like I'm gonna learn, I'm gonna build this and that, and I'm gonna do this to it. So that's kind of like I want to do FTE. This is how we build cars. I want to learn. Plus, like it helps with the other builds that we do. So
Yeah.
like it makes me try things out that might work here for like another pro car, or like take things from another pro car into my car.
So you wanted to try and do FD with this?
Yeah, but then like I always, it's like man, I don't make it not funny.
Yeah.
Like, the reality is that I, like, as much as I want to and, like, I could try to dream about it and, like, honestly, I can make it happen if I, like, sacrificed a lot and, like, tried hard, but, like, it is very hard, it's expensive at least. So, like, there was a mentality where it would be cool and, like, at least having the car if, like, it arose would be cool, but it's not even legal anymore, so
Yeah. By the time it was done and illegal.
it's illegal. Which was still not cool, but
Yeah.
God.
Did they change like the cage requirements or something?
No, dude, they changed. Alright, it has a pedal box, it has a steering column, and it has a sequential, and it's also converted right-hand drive. All those things are now illegal for Pro Spec. So technically, I can drive the car, but in Pro 1. So I wouldn't be able to drive the car in Pro Spec. So, like, I can get rid of like, I would have to build a new car. It's like the sequential, the pedal box, the steering column are all
Yeah.
illegal. And the right-hand drive swap is illegal. I think everything else I could get, like, points deducted, but I think the right-hand drive is where they're like, "Nah."
That's so weird that they did that for
Yeah.
Pro Spec. I wonder why.
So their mentality was to make Pro Spec cheaper, right?
Mm.
So, like, technically, you're supposed to be able to have, like, an S chassis with a swap and a roll cage, right? And, like, within the rules and, like, do Pro Spec. That's, like, what you're saying. Like, you don't need to have a full-on sequential blah, 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 blah. Like,
Yeah.
which is understandable, but it's not like sequentials were making Pro Spec drivers better or not,
Yeah.
Like, it was just kinda like a dumb rule there. And the pedal box and stuff like that, they were just like they were talking about it in cost. And they're like there's I don't know how to there's like a director for like the stuff or whatever. And he literally said that James Dean has won every championship with stock pedals and a stock steering column. There's no reason
You need a pedal
a
box.
pedal box. That was his excuse. Like when asked, like, what's the reasoning behind this? He's like, there's no reason. That's like he said, James Dean has one. What else do you need? Like, which is cool, understandable, but like in like a BMW, like when you go pro level, you want a pedal box. You don't want like foot mounted pedal thing that
Yeah,
like
that thing
breaks.
sucks, dude.
Yeah.
I just broke my clutch pedal.
See.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. So then it made it illegal, but it was a fun car to build, and I learned a lot. And I guess that's the main thing I took from it.
Yeah, which led to doing like a full SEMA build pretty much.
Yeah. Another crazy thing that just kind of happened here.
Yeah, it's why, dude, this thing was like in the Toyota booth at SEMA.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
In dead center. The
Yeah.
Rycia's car there too.
Yeah. Dude, it's a fucking like 2090s era, 2000s era mini truck
It really is.
drift spec. Like it's fucking sick.
Yep.
On Equip 05s.
Yep.
Yeah. It's like so many different styles put together in like one thing.
Which is funny because it's like my drift car. It's
Yeah.
the same thing. It's like 20 different things put together in like
Yeah.
one actual like vehicle.
But pulled it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of works.
Yeah. I want to drive this thing real bad.
Yeah, me too.
I bet.
We're doing that next.
Yeah.
The people who like import or shipped it out to California like smashed the engine up and hurt the oil filter. So we're like they're making a claim and stuff. A whole bunch of things.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That's what I said. I was like, how did they do that? But they did. But yeah, so we built cool cars here.
Yeah, that's what you wanted to do. Now you do it for a
Yeah.
job. That's kind of sick.
Yeah, kinda. Because now like I barely want to work on my own car.
Yeah.
I'm like building these things all day and I'm like, dang, do I really want to work on another S chassis?
I get that.
That's like the only bad part about it. That's like the part that like I try to tell people when they're like, oh, I want to like find a job in the automotive industry. And I'm like, if you make good money doing something else, I wouldn't, just because it gives you this like outlet. Like you have a career and you can focus time, and then you get off work and you can like your brain goes away from this main thing.
Yeah,
I don't have that
I
problem.
enjoy working on my car. I'm like, fucking get me off this computer. Like, I don't want to respond to any more fucking emails. Like, I want to go turn some wrenches and like, not every day. Some days it's like harder to get into the garage,
Yeah.
but like when it's cold or really hot or whatever, I'm just
Yeah.
like, "Bleh." But you know, on that day where you're like, oh, I got this project, like I'm gonna make my shit look cool. Like,
You're excited.
yeah,
See, there's been times where I was like, I was excited to do something on my car, but didn't do it because I worked on cars all day.
yeah.
Like, I'm like, dang, do I really want to weld again? I'm like, nah, I'm not going to. Even though I really wanted to weld the thing for my car.
Yeah, tell me about like the fabricate, because Greg was telling me you do full like race car spec wiring,
Yeah.
fabrication,
Yeah.
paint,
Yeah.
and like pretty much
Yeah.
everything else mechanical, engine,
Yeah.
suspension.
I mean, I built my engine.
Damn.
So I don't know. So like this is where, like I said, just drifting has like drawn me to have an automotive career, so then I can like support drifting. So at some point I started working at like a DIY auto tune, which is Mega Squirt, right? So like I was like doing um they sell like harnesses for like their ECUs, and they're just like this big giant leads. So like I was doing that. And then from there I got like a job doing actual mil spec motorsports wiring. So then I like actual like wire like GT cars and Le Mans
Damn.
cars and
No
LMP.
way.
Yeah, like crazy cars like that. Like that's what we were doing. And then from that we like sponsored Dustin. So then we started doing like mil spec wiring into like drift cars, right? And then which now like it's kind of like the thing in Formula D. Like when we started, when Dustin's car was Dustin's was like the only pro spec car. Maybe there might have been three. I'm gonna say two because Blake Olson's like the only one. It might have been three actual pro spec build cars that like actually had like mil spec. And even in like the pro cars, not all of them were like that. You know, like the fancy ones were, but like most aren't.
Yeah, they're all like switch panels.
Yeah, like simple stuff like that. So we were all like PDMs and like everything, like Motec everything and stuff like that. So then I was doing that for a while, and then that dude kind of like shut down, and I ended up here. So like that's where like I've done like all aspects of it, and like I really enjoy the wiring because it like I would go back to like doing full-time wiring because it's like something where like I literally you work on something so cool that's like part of a race car, but it's like you're not touching your race. Like you don't like I don't have wrenches and shit, you know, like I'm not like the thinking process behind it is completely different than it is to like I don't know.
Yeah, I get it. I wear it in my car.
Yeah, like
I
it's
did
like
my engine harness. Like
mm,
it's like very like lock in, methodical, like
yeah.
big brain plan. It's the car's nervous system.
Yeah, and like if you just plan it out and just follow your planning, it's like perfect, and like as long as you planned correctly and like you did that right, like it's not like when you're like welding and something could just happen, or like mid building an engine, or like building a car, you know, it's always something, you know. That's why
Yeah.
I like wiring. And it was always like it didn't have anything to do with drifting, so like it made it fun. But then I started working here, and just because of the skill sets that I have, and they actually needed like so Ryan at that point in time was either part-time or just interning. So then they had another guy here who was like a head guy, but he actually didn't do anything. That was like for real.
Yeah.
And so then I got hired so that I could be like lead tagged, so then I can like so they can have cars like constantly doing something, right? So like since I could do like a little bit of everything, um, I could do that. Um, and then I honestly think this thing, or even a project before it, where the other guy, because he was like the fab guy and all this other thing. He was like, "Yeah, we're taking it all in," and then he just didn't do them, and they were just sitting here, and they were like, "Okay, it has to happen." So then he like kind of tried to teach me, or just kind of said like, "Here's this, here's that, go there and weld," and I was like, "All right," and then like for real, dude was horrible. Dude at one point in time said he didn't want to teach us things because he didn't want us to be better than him. Like it was like so.
That's the worst.
Like I know he was horrible. So he was setting us up to fail anyways. But I just like, all right, this is cool. And let me figure it out. So I just like I like I'm saying, I'm like very when I like learn or like when I'm like into something, I'm like into it, right? So like, all right, here we go. I'm into welding now. So I'm like, I'm into welding. Like I like tried very hard to not be like I was like, I have friends to weld. I'm gonna learn how to paint. I'm gonna learn how to do something else. You know, whenever they need something painted, like hit me up. I need something welded. You know,
Yeah.
I'll go to them. Like that's how we trade things off. You know, that's how like this ecosystem works. It helps out. But then I was just forced, kind of just thrown into something, and I was like, whatever. And I chopped the back of this truck, and I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm telling you, there's so many times I was just like, all right, and then I had to learn.
Yeah, because the whole rear end on that thing's like S chassis.
Yes, an S14 rear subframe. I don't even know why, because the dude wanted to meet each other. But the dude who didn't want the project or like signed up for the project, that didn't do the project, like complicated the project very hard. And then I was the one doing it. He's like, go back there and bend this thing. And then he's like, go get DOM that's like a 1/4 inch thick. And like, dude, me bending, like I'm little. We had like a hand bender, dude. I'm like, I had 2 people in a big pipe help me bending some shit. Like, there's this main thing that's like back there that was like so hard to do. I don't even know how I did that. Like, to be honest, like that's why this thing happened too, because I got like thrown into this, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. So like, I'll ruin my own car after work on my spare time and like get better at it and not like ruin. I like feel very, I like so self, I have a conscience, dude. So I feel so bad. I like feel so bad about this other dude's thing. They're like, I built a turbo kit for LS S2000 and like I just learned how to TIG. Oh, I'm like learning how to TIG. And like this is this other dude's project. I'm like freaking out mentally. I'm like, dude, how am I just like I don't know how to do this. This dude is paying us money. Like, no, like I don't. So like I tried very hard, you know, like but
But it came out decent.
yeah, it was cool, but
Yeah.
like I don't know. I would have never if I was this other guy, I would have never put anybody else in like my position. Like you should never like, you know, teaching me and like you should have let me go whenever I was like kind of decent at something, but like I'm like learning. But like I mean, I guess that's one way to get good at something, right?
Yeah,
It's
get thrown
just
in the deep
yeah,
end
and
with
just
no water wings, dude.
you just and it's funny, that's also how I learned how to swim.
Yeah, getting chucked in a pool.
I got chugged by my uncles into a deep pool and I just had to swim.
Yeah, sounds like that's been pretty much your whole life after that too.
Yeah, like it just kind of like happens. But yeah, so yeah, so then now like I, but like I enjoy it. You know, it's like artistic and crap. Like it's very cool whenever like you actually get into fabricating.
Yeah,
It's like a very beautiful art when you actually like do it, and like
it's something I've always wanted to like get into.
you should just do it. You have like friends do that.
Yeah,
What's his name, right or whatever, dude? Luke,
he's
dude.
so good.
I would.
Yeah, well,
I
it's
would
hard
be.
to.
I'm the person that if I see you and you're good at something, I'm asking you questions. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
I'm like, yo, what are your settings?
yeah.
Throw me on here. What is going on? How did
Luke-
you do that?
Luke would definitely help me out.
Put me on,
He
coach.
just-
Like I want to learn. But that's honestly why this ends up like that. Because like I said, I'm not afraid to fail. Like oh well, if it doesn't look good, oh well. I like did it myself. I'll try again, you know? So like
I think I need to learn a little bit more patience before I take on fabrication because I'm
Ah,
kind of like I'm gonna get it done kind of
I'm the same way.
guy.
I'm like, I can't even sit still. My hands be shaking.
Yeah,
Like I don't know how well my hands be like, but like
yeah.
you learn to like float it.
Have you always had like a ton of like just natural energy?
Yeah, I have ADHD or whatever thing. I just probably never like, yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
I think that's probably why you're so good at like adapting
Yeah,
and like exciting new things. Like
yeah,
you like go crazy on, and then now
yeah,
you're just good at it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I don't, I don't like talking like that, but like I've naturally been good at things. Like if I put, like you're saying that, I think it's just because I like focus my brain into things. So like if I like something and I put myself up to it, there's no reason why like I shouldn't be good at it. I should try. But like, I don't know. Not everything.
I think drifting is like a I think like most people in drifting, or at least the ones that are good at it, all have some kind of like ADHD or something. Because it's like it's a really good outlet for that type of like brain style.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because like you have to learn so much,
Yeah.
and you have to learn so many like different things, and it's like kind of have to be like okay with the like chaos and like and when you're driving, it's that like adrenaline that like kind of like almost like calms everything down
Is
in
that
a
how
way.
you feel? Like I've actually, I think I was trying to get Greg the other day to try to figure out because like he's starting to drive a lot more now, right? So like we'll get on the sim, and he gets like really worked up, and I have to be like, calm down, don't do that. Like, are you a natural driver where you're like you're calm when you get in the car? Like I have so much anxiety before an event. During an event, I won't eat, but like if I'm in the car, like it's just everything seems so slow. Like everything's just so focused that I can like feel the car. I feel so much like I feel like when I'm drifting, it's slow mo, and then
Mm,
like everything like does that make sense? Like I don't
that's
know.
interesting. For me, I just like I kind of just like black out.
You just don't remember. It's just like landing a trick. You're just like, whoa, I just landed this.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
what
yeah, 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 yeah. That's
happened.
the exact same
Okay,
feeling.
okay.
Like you like drop in.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like the same thing as like initiating for
yeah,
me.
yeah.
Like I just like it's just my body just my body and brain just kind of take. It's like kind of the only time where I'm not in my head.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
feel like
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
very in my head as like a person. I'm like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
thinking about the future, the past, like what's going on. This person's like how he feels about this or that, and it's just like when I'm drifting, like it's just clear.
Yeah, that's fully I feel that. But, like, I feel like that's why I feel like everything is slow-mo for me, because I would be like I am, like, so conscious of everything. I like, hear, like,
Mm,
tires. "Doo, doo, doo, doo." I'm like, "Okay." Drifting is just so much fun, though.
yeah,
Like, that's so much fun.
that's a really good escape.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. 100%. Like, that's like you were saying, you just initiate, drop in, or whatever it is, and everything is just like, poof. And it's just like you're driving, like, you're focused on, "Am I gonna make the turn? How am I making that turn? Am I e-braking at the correct time? Did I hit the brakes? Am I gonna go off?"
I think it's like also training your brain to be like that because
Yeah.
like if you're I don't know if you're like thinking about other shit while you're driving, you're gonna fuck up.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Like a few times I've been like driving and I'd be like, oh, like this person's watching, and like, dude,
Yeah.
you cannot think about that kind of
No,
stuff,
no,
like
no, no.
because you're pulling yourself like out of that moment, and it's like you're just gonna make problems for yourself.
That's like I said, I've been telling Greg things, and, like, one of those was, like, when you're leading, don't look back, don't even think about what I'm doing. You think about yourself, put your car where it needs to be, and let me worry about me. Because if
Yeah.
you're doing everything you're doing correctly, I'm gonna be fine. But, like, if you think, "I'm going too wide for this, let me go in," now, like, now you're doing erratical stuff, and we're guessing, that's a big thing. But, like, that you also get that when you start getting chased by, like, better driver. Like, if you get chased by, like, a pro car and a pro driver in our simple cars, they're just on you the whole time, and, like,
Yeah,
you
and all
look
you hear is fucking
yeah, whatever V8 or
wastegate or V8
you're just like, "Okay,
ITBs, like
let me focus on" like, you have to very much focus on yourself. which is it helps a lot.
Yeah, if you start looking back, that's a problem. Like you just gotta like drive your line, look straight, don't think about like I mean, you're like well known in the community. You're a really good driver. Like if you chase people who are like learning, like maybe like first or second year drifters, like that's intimidating for them.
Yeah, yeah,
Like you do that to people sometimes. I'm sure.
yeah.
Like what? Yeah. When did you figure out like how to like let that go and just lead? Uh,
I, I don't know, to be honest. I think we have like I don't know, we have a lot of like hot lap events here.
mm,
So we end up always in situations where like someone's catching up.
yeah.
So like if you're in a run group, like I might I know that I might end up with somebody who I might not want chasing me,
mm,
if that makes sense.
yeah.
But I know that at least they drive good enough because they're in this run group or whatever. So like there's a lot of times where I've gone to events like that and I'll like get on somebody, right? And like I'm the one that's like, getting up close. But I don't know, I think we've done that so much here that there's like this mutual understanding or like you kind of know when somebody's gonna drift with you. Like,
Mm,
I don't know if we're like throwing our hands up or like it's that thing where like I might, drive up to you and the dude looks back and like, it's cool with it and like, or like we've already talked about it and like the guy's cool. But like usually try not to just scare someone, to be
yeah,
honest.
that's fair.
Like, it's happened to me, like, I've done it at Grid Life, dude, at Grid Life, you've done many Grid Life, so it's probably happened to you where you just next thing you know, there's a Mustang or, like, this crazy fast pro car behind you, and you're just like, "What?" Like, it's happened to me multiple times, like, I've had Oswald go down the hill on me, and I didn't know, like, just doing Road Atlanta, and I, like, transition in the keyhole, and I hear another car, and I look, and it's Oswald on my door, like, on my door, and I'm just like, "Well," like,
Yeah.
now I have to just transition and be cool, like, it was super cool,
Yeah. It's
but,
sick.
like, I didn't know. If I would've, if I would've been someone else and hit the brakes or messed up, that would've been bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, I don't wanna ruin someone's car, and I don't know. I don't we usually we have, like, the finger rule here. It's usually how it works, and it's like
That's key.
yeah, and it's like I said, we have hot laps here too, though, so, like, most of the time I'm on track, I'm never alone. I'm always with my friends. So,
Mm,
like, for me to be, like, catching a random for me to be doing single laps and, like, find a random seems very, doesn't happen that very often.
uncommon.
You know? But, like, there's a lot of times where I've gone to events and then I've agreed to a lot of tandems with those random guys, like, and, like, they're like, "Yo, is it cool? Can we tandem with you?" And they're like, "Yeah." So, we have, like, a cool little respect here, I think.
Yeah, that's good. There's definitely different communities and like how things are
Yeah,
done.
yeah.
I think that's important.
And I think that's also based on the people there. So, like, if you guys are OGs in an area, you guys may not realize that, but you are, like, a big part of how things go and how things are run and how the new generation goes about things. So, like, if you don't put yourself out there, you guys, and, like, go, "Hey, you guys want a tandem?" Like that, those new guys don't know that that's a thing, right? And if
Yeah.
you don't go ask people, "Hey, don't drive with me," or, like, there's been times where, like, somebody's like, "Hey, I want a tandem," and I'll be like, "Hey, give me 2 laps. Let me get
Yeah.
and then we'll do it," or people will come onto your, like, tandem, like, "I'm out of tire, but, like, you can chase me or I'll chase you," like
Yeah.
so, like, we have that kind of community here, and it's good.
Yeah.
We have a lot of drifting now, so it's really good. We have a lot of events now.
Yeah. Seems like it.
Yeah.
Seems like the community is like really strong here, and it feels like this is like a big community hub
Yeah,
for
yeah.
drifting in like I guess just Georgia in general, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah. it's
So
weird to think about that when we don't see it, but like just because we're part of it or whatever, right? So like, but like we have a very strong, very like thriving, lots of new drivers, but then we have lots of new drivers that have like um good mindset. So we have like 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds driving really hard, but then have cool liveries, cool looking cars, cool teams. So they're like actually like, keeping these parts of drifting alive. And then those same kids um are doing like pro am. So like this is what like I was saying, we really like drifting and it at Koruworks now, like I'm gonna say this, we really like it all because we all have these super stylish cars, right? But we build professional cars. And we are a big part of professional drifting. And like people think those are two sides of things, and they are. But at the same time, not really. It's all drifting, and it is two sides. It's like, it is like vert to street, right? We're all skateboarding, but you could technically do both. If you wanted to, you can have a cool car and a pro car. Kangushi has a really cool IS. He's driven with us and stuff like that.
yeah.
It's a cool street car, you know, and then he has crazy pro car, he has like that whole life, you know. And like people, I think a lot of people on the stylish side of drifting don't see that, if that makes sense. They're like, oh, it's only supposed to be this way, which I get it, but like, it's not. We're also so far into drifting nowadays that like, it is cool to see pro. It is cool to see all the young kids in FRSs and E36s. It does look stupid with no bumpers and just, like whatever. But like,
Yeah. But
it's
they're learning.
cool.
They're
They're
broke.
learning, right?
Yeah.
And if they see your car multiple times, they might go, maybe this should look like that. And they end up kind of always looking like that, especially when they're surrounded by like good driving and a good looking car. People don't associate like two different things, right? Like
Yeah.
if your community of drifting is all ugly cars to drive good, everyone's gonna have an ugly car to drive good. If everyone just has a cool car and doesn't even drive them that good, everyone. But like pushing in like a balance, it's very
Mm.
fun. And like I feel like Animal Style does that. You guys all have really cool cars, but you guys drive very aggressive and you guys like push this like type of aggressive drifting very hard, right? And it's like that shows people like you can drive very hard, but have a cool car, like it doesn't you guys can wreck into each other, but the cars look really cool. Even, it might be before every event that they look really cool and after they're beat up, but like at least before every event, the cars look, obviously everything's smashing stuff, but like presentable, it's
Yeah.
like a word, right?
Yeah.
Like it might not be like, show SEMA quality, but like presentable where like somebody that's first getting into drifting goes, wow, that's actually cool. That car looks nice. You know, maybe I'll invest some money into this. Maybe I'll buy my own car. Maybe I'll buy a t-shirt from those guys, like
Lead by example.
yeah, exactly. Like to a degree, we all have opinions and shit. So we try to like, this is what we think, or this is how we do things, but it's hard. But we like, at least I can say that here at Koruworks, we try to push that. And like, we have a lot of young drivers that come into like the mentality of Formula D has to have this look, and their cars might not look bad, and they're gonna be mad at me for saying this, but like most of the times, we're the ones to turn them around and like give them a look, give them, look at these colors,
Yeah,
it's
it
so,
goes a long way.
like it's a persona. Like you're trying to be a pro, but you also need to be like marketable, and you need to be able to look good, and like that comes with the styling part. Yeah, you're gonna get all these wheels for free, but if you have these ones, your car might look better and you might actually get more out of it because people actually want to market you more. Like you,
Yeah.
instead of just free wheels, you might actually get money. Like
Yeah.
it's such a hard balance, but like we try to teach people that. And like I said, we have like young kids who are like we have young kids who want to be Final Bout winners, and they want to be like Formula D like drivers. Like the same kid wants to do both, and
Damn.
he's building like both cars and like full on drives very good. You probably seen the yellow cars. Like this kid's name is JC, and
I
like
haven't yet.
you will see him. I think this weekend. I think he's gonna drive his S14,
Sick.
and he's like he built like a little yellow S14, but like their mentality is so cool to see because they're so young. I mean, Team Ballhead.
Mhm.
Okay, all those kids were, like, young kids. Like, I put Bryson in my car when he was a child, like,
No
before yeah,
way,
like, I got
dude.
him hyped on my R32, and that's why his car and mentality and all this stuff are certain ways. That's why they drive hard, but have cool cars because the stuff that they see around them,
Yeah.
like, we, like, push that, like we try to be like, "This is what it should look like."
Yeah.
Like, people don't realize you don't realize how crazy like anytime animal style shows up to events, you may not see this, but like the present you guys all make just because everyone has the same looking car, everyone like it might not be the same livery, but like it matches styles, right? Like it's a huge presence. People really look up to that, and like you don't realize that like at all while you're doing it. You're like,
Nah.
I'm just with my friends, right? But like, then you have like a whole team ball head. Now you have a whole different generation of people that like came up just from watching us do that. And it's the things that I'm sure there's a lot of guys, like I don't know y'all seen. So I'm sure there's a lot of guys that like are the same way for y'all where like now they're like super into it, have like little teams or whatever,
Yeah, for
just
sure.
because you guys, just because going to drift and you guys are all there and like, dang, I need my crew, like
Yeah, it's the best way to do it.
yeah. But so I don't know.
Yeah, and we talk about that a lot, like, leading by example,
Yeah.
like, how do you keep, like, light on, like, the, like, driving style that we like? How do you, like, push, like, cool cars driving hard is cool, you know? And it's just like, well, the only way to do it is to do it, you
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
Just go out and drive and
Yeah.
do the cars the way that we want, and I'm sure you guys can relate, it's the same
Yeah, yep,
thing. Yeah.
yep. And, like, we were just doing it for ourselves. So, like, it might have not been like, "Yo, let's try to" like I said, I didn't think about it until, like, later on when, like, seeing, like, Bryson and having conversations with Bryson, like, now it makes you go, like, "Okay." So, like, the stuff that we were doing made sense, you know? And, like, talking to all these kids, not being this is a big deal, but, like, always talking to kids when they come up to your drift events,
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
like and I don't like talking to people, and, like, after every event, like, after Final Bout, like, I don't talk to people for a while because 'cause I'm so drained from, like, social activity, like, for real.
Yeah, dude.
Like but, like, I try to give everyone time of day, I try to give everyone, like, a conversation. I wish I can give everyone a ride along, I just
Bro,
can't anymore, and I used to be able to do a R32 because I'd be like, "Yo, look in the back," but, like,
yeah.
now I'm just like
This last Final Bout, I was like, I didn't have anything left, dude. I had nothing left.
No, dude.
I had it was tough.
Yeah.
And, like, it's no offense to people, but it's like, yeah, people coming up and, like, talking to you about the car or, like, asking you about showing you their car, and you're just like,
Yeah.
I'm locked in, I'm like, I wanna be a good, like, member of the community and, like, have a good presence and stuff, but, like, sometimes it's like, "Alright, 2 days, 3 days of, like."
It's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot we hid in the trailer and stuff, dude. Multiple people are hiding in the trailer this
Yo, I'm
time.
not gonna lie, this last year was crazy. This last year was crazy, like,
Yeah.
people looking for ride-alongs, like,
That was the most I've ever had. It's never been
it
like
was
that.
it was like a constant stream.
Yeah, it's never been it felt like other drift events because we have, like, import alliances and other drift events that have, like, car shows at them. 'em that are usually, like we're like a display.
Yeah.
Usually, we have that at those events where there's, like, a billion kids asking for ride-alongs. That was the first Final Bout that I, like, told multiple people, "Nah, like,
Yeah.
I can't. I have a line already, and I haven't even taken the people that I wanted to take."
Yeah.
It's just always so many people there, though, and, like, you see somebody else, and you're like, "Dang, yo," and then, like, there's no time.
Yeah. That event, like, flew by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't even remember it was me in 2 days.
Yeah. It was a lot.
I think I was some of the most people that was there too, right?
Seemed like a lot. Like, I think the spectator count was crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I was at LZ World Tour in Bakersfield, and like I think there was like about the same amount of people at Final Bout.
Dang. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So like all this stuff's growing.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. We just like I don't know. It feels good to like do something because you love it, and you're like, all right, well, like I still love cool cars, but I want to drift hard. And then like now there's like a whole other like generation and like group of people kind of like coming up, and that's like the style of drifting.
Yep.
Because like without it, like what happens to people who have that like nuance, the ones that like the style choices or whatever, like there's got to be somewhere for that to be.
100%. And like, hopefully it continues to grow like Final Bout or whatever bigger. So then, um, I keep saying this, and I don't know. I hope nobody steals this thing, but like FD and Final Bout should very much collab because like we have we have at least 100 people that come here all the time, right? Most of those people know, like, let's just say, I'm gonna say Chelsea DeNofa, right? So that's who started them into drifting, and not Chelsea DeNofa back in the day, like RTR Chelsea DeNofa last year, right?
Yeah.
So their mentality of drifting is just like Formula D, RTR, maybe Adam LZ, these couple of YouTubers things. So they have no idea about even like brands. They have no idea what Euros or like D-Max. Like
Yeah.
if Adam's never had a D-Max car, I've never heard of D-Max. I don't know
Yeah,
what
they
that
don't even know
is.
what that is.
Right?
Yeah.
Like
That's
that's the
crazy.
like that's so like that's an actual thing. Like we have interns here who like don't know anything about Japanese style drifting. Only know American drifting and like sim drifting.
Yeah.
Like straight up. So like I think the bigger it gets, the bigger you can push, like, not that it's like a divide into drifting, but like it's like we're at the skate park together. We just do different things and we can vibe together, like
Yeah.
if Formula D had like instead of their downtime, it's literally team tandem competition. And even if it's not team tandem competition, but exhibition, like, y'all and like other teams come around and like that would show a generation of kids like, whoa, I can do that in that level. Like, like I don't
Yeah.
have to be pro
Yeah.
winner number one. I can win by having some friends and having fun.
Yeah.
Like if it can get that spotlight, it can continue to grow so big. And I think that's why Japanese drifters or Japanese drifting got so big, and especially those little aspects of them, is because they had those like MSC challenge and like Dory 10 things where the fun side of drifting was still continue to be highlighted. The team side of drifting was still continue to be highlighted
Yeah.
as the same aspect of D1GP. Like D1GP, and then they have like in the middle, like they have D1 trains with all the D1 cars.
Yeah.
FD
So
doesn't do
sick.
that. Like,
Yeah.
why wouldn't it why
That'd
has
be the coolest. Yeah.
4 or even 10 FD cars? Just like that would be the sickest shit. But they always talk about like exhibition and show and blah 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 blah, but like it's this one-on-one battle thing, but like they could show like the
Yeah.
same shit, but like I don't know. I think that would be
One of the coolest things I've ever seen was like a giant, like it's called like super Dante, like super train, I guess.
yeah.
And like I don't know if that means train. Anyway, whatever. So like Mahon, they like at the end of the
Kansai
super.
All-Stars.
Well, yeah, they do it at Kansai All Stars. They did it at the Super D event that they
Oh,
had in
okay.
Japan. Also, that was like my first time seeing it. But like literally every single car that was there competing, all just bombing the track at the same time, and I was like, "This is the craziest shit I've ever seen." And it like nobody's run was like crazy,
Yeah.
but it was just sick. Like they did
Yeah.
that at Final Bout this time. That
Yeah.
was Josh's idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, like proceed.
Yeah.
Like he was just like, we should do a big train.
Yeah.
Like with all the teams. That was like one of the coolest
It was.
parts. Yeah.
It really
Like,
was.
like
That shot was so cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So I think drifting is like at a beautiful place, because it's still so young. So like it can be shaped so many different ways,
Mm,
but it's actually very big. Like drifting's not little anymore. Drifting has big sponsors. There's companies being made just like drifting things, like tires are literally being made just for drifting. Like,
crazy.
yeah, like I mean, Valinos, Estinos, all that. None of that stuff is road cars. That's all. What are the
Drift
sound?
only.
It's like
Yeah.
drift only. They're track cars aren't using that many. Like, it's
No.
literally us burning them up. So, like, I mean, even to the point where GT radios like lineup is mainly like a
Drift
drift
tire.
tire,
It's crazy.
like a made specific drift tire. Like, that is crazy. So this is it makes it good because like at least some of us who've been into like it for so long, it makes it fun to be able to see it grow, and then it's cool to see some of the people who've been in so long end up in like careers within it. Like there's a lot of people who've been doing this a long time. Like myself, like I might I enjoy doing this. I enjoy building cars. I enjoy working here, right? And it's all because I enjoy drifting. Like I didn't set out to have this, but like it is very cool. So
Yeah, it's beautiful.
yeah,
Yeah, it's cool that we're sitting in a shop with like a R33,
yeah.
S14 K series, a 1J swapped like Toyota pickup,
Yeah.
a fucking
What is it? GR Corolla, right?
yeah,
Like 1,000 miles, but it's got a big turbo. What?
yeah. The backyard's just like crazy shit, and then like you guys also do FD stuff. Like
Yeah.
it does show that it can be the same thing. It doesn't need to be different.
That's like a thing. And like I said, like I feel like that's kind of why I built this car. And it might not show just because it's all from the outside. People are just still like, oh, that's like it looks like a Final Bout car, right? So like it doesn't. But like if you look at it and like start paying attention to all the little things that like make sense about it, like like oh, you know, this is I can remove my front end and my engine super easy, but then it has like styling within that. It's not just like a tube front that looks horrible and it's kind of painted. It's got some dimpled eyes and like it's got like a little nice to it. Like the case swap looks nice.
Yeah.
Like everything. Not only does it perform well like at a pro level, but then it has like styling to it. And like that's a thing that people don't realize about like professional motorsports. There's a lot of styling. Like if you saw like like a G like LMGT car or whatever, like if you like nerd out over those cars, they are so stylish. The way things are like laid out, it's like beautiful. It's not just like randomly placed. It's like
Mm,
someone who really thought about that being there, like the weight balance of the car is like designed, so like this old tank is specifically put there, like, like you can nerd out about little shit like that.
that's cool. I never even thought about that.
Yeah, that's why I really like motorsports or period. Like that's why I like cars. This is like it might just be like mechanical things that like it is mechanical things because I really like trains. Trains. But that's why that stuff is like cool to me, like somebody figured out how to make steam move an engine, and the biggest thing like a steam power engine moved so much like weight. Like when you think about the tons of things that a steam engine pull, like somebody thought about that. How?
Yeah, that's crazy. I actually
Right?
never
Like
thought about that. Yeah, it's just like hot water.
hot water just
Hot water is
and then just
pulling like a fucking giant train full of like people or fucking
goods.
goods. Yeah. Huh.
So like that's me. That's why I end up with crazy things because my brain thinks like that. And then I'm like, like flake. And then I'm like, what about flake? And I like look at all the aspects. Oh, it's so neat. And start candy this, candy that, and like playing with it. It's the ADHD or whatever, the autism. It really is. I'm just afraid to go get checked out just so like confirm. I'm like, I know it's there.
Yeah, I think the trains is they just ask you when you go to the doctor. They're like,
Trains.
"So do you like trains?" And you're like, "I
Click.
fucking love trains."
How much
Steam
do you
engine?
like trains? A lot. Oh no.
They're like, "Oh,
Far gone there, bud.
yeah." That's the only question they ask. They're just like, okay, so you were thinking about getting tested. Okay, sit down here. We're gonna help you out. How much do you like trains? And you're like, oh, I fucking love trains. They're like, okay, well, we have a here, we have a decision.
Yeah. Here's your disability papers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. This thing's sick, dude.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. It's cool that you can, over all these years, just fucking keep trying stuff and like leveling up. I feel like the next car you build after this, if you ever decide to do it again, will be even crazier. And
Yeah. It gets, yeah, and I like don't want to because that's like I have a Corolla back there, and I'm like,
you know
yeah,
the amount of time and effort you're gonna put into it.
yeah, like I'm already like designing ITB setups for the SR20 and stuff, and like it doesn't need to be that way. I could just
Yeah.
have a car, but like my brain is already like so far ahead. Like I won't build the car because I haven't bought T37s for it, and like I know if when I get T37s for it, I'm gonna go like insane on it. And like I like this is where like I know my autism, so like I like, okay, this is a red flag. Don't like feed into it and like, you know, chill.
Yeah.
Cause I will, like I will go bonkers and like, but like, and that the sad part is because there's a vision in my brain. So like if
And you want to execute.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
like let's do it. Come on. And like
Yeah.
I
I
can't.
have like a build in my head that I've been wanting to do for like 5 years. And I just like will not buy the chassis because I know once I buy it, like my life is gonna be really chaotic for a while.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So you see, you understand.
yeah.
You know how to control the tism.
Yeah.
It's
Like no, no more. I need to like yeah. Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like I still have my R32, so like, you know, like I had that engine's for it right there. And once it gets put back together, then like I wanted to go back to being like a cool car. So I'm gonna have to try to do that.
Yeah. Are you excited?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Cause like that car went through this whole phase of me trying to chase my friends with big tires. And then I realized that the whole entire time I had 235s and I never was slower than them. And I didn't have to. And I broke more things and like rolled like raised it and like I liked the car more when I used to like when my lips or my wheel lips would hit my fender and like because I was squatting, that was cool. And like I stopped doing that. And like I honestly didn't going faster didn't feel as cool,
Mm,
if that makes sense.
interesting.
Yeah. And like this is where like the whole me being able to like I don't like I can like adapt to something. So if you start driving faster than me in my car slow, I'm just gonna adapt to you and I'm gonna start trying to figure out how to drive as fast as you. Not change my car.
Mm,
I'm gonna change the way I drive so I can drive it with you or like you or whatever it is, right? So like I realized that I've tried very hard. I always thought, oh, like Bill, Dustin, they're both 500 horsepower, 265s. I have to try to do the same thing. But like when I was, 400 horsepower, 255, 265s, I drove at the same pace with them than I was on 235s, So it was like, it never felt like, oh, I don't know. I just always change. I chased the assumption that it was going to be better if I
mm.
did this. But like, I just adapted to it. I didn't really. I don't know if that makes sense.
No,
Like,
that makes sense. I think that's why like I'm similar. That's why I just like don't turn my boost up. Like I'm like my car makes 400. I'll just leave it alone.
yeah,
Like and I'll just like adapt to the track.
yeah. Like, just
Like
leave
you
it.
could fucking drift anything with 400 horsepower.
Yeah. And like, okay, I would say that like I was
Not
on
anything, but like
No, dude, you can because you can just turn up some tire pressure, and that's the thing. Like,
yeah.
okay, so whenever I was on 265s, I had to turn up the tire pressure much higher to be able to drift like I was
Without blowing shit
blowing
up.
shit up. But
Mhm.
on 235s, which is the difference, was just the size because I would buy the same 235 Valino as the same 255 Valino or the same grippy tire, right?
Yeah.
Now, like if we're talking about Chinese 235 versus like a Valino two, like that's a different tire,
Yeah.
right? Right, like that's they're leaving me behind no matter what I do, right? But on the 235, I never broke as much stuff, but I was always just as fast as them. Like, I might have learned more or less tire pressure, you know what I'm saying? I might have been on throttle way more sometimes while they're off throttle, but, like, I learned how to do that. Instead of, like, the same thing when I got to bigger tire, because I assumed I just adapted to the car instead of, like, I don't know, that's people are always asking me about setups, and I'm like, I don't know how to explain it, because to
Mm,
me, I just get in the car and I'll do a couple laps, and then I learn how to drive the car.
mm.
The alignment can be screwed up, and I, like, have to learn how to drive that car.
I'm kind of I don't I'm not as good at that.
No, you're like,
Uh-huh. Like, I
you're
feel like a car feels weird. Like, I can drive around it for the most part, but, like, I can't make it do what I want it to do, like, I get frustrated.
like,
And I
that's
know how to change it, and I'll usually tell people, like, "You should change this on your car."
Get you got too much toe, dude, stop.
Yeah, I'd be like, "Too much toe in," or, like, "The rear end's too stiff," or, "The rear end's too soft," or, like, "The front," like, I can, like I do ha I'm pretty good at, like, driving a car and figuring out, like, what I would change, like,
Yeah, yeah,
what doesn't feel good.
yeah, yeah, like, okay, this
And when my friends drive my car, they're like, "It drives really fucking good," and I'm like, "Okay, cool." Like, I do think I'm good at, like, feeling a car out, and, like
yeah, yeah,
and some cars just feel awesome.
yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
There's been some cars where, like, I've gotten in and I drove, and I immediately drove it without having to, like, adapt too much. But
Yes.
there's some cars where you're trying like you're driving around the car.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. But, like, that's the problem with my brain, dude, because if you put me in both cars, I'm just gonna drive them and try to make it do the same thing. And,
Yeah.
you know, like, I might not get frustrated. I'll just keep trying or, like, finding different ways. But, like, I don't know. This is where it hasn't clicked yet to me. I haven't had that moment where, like, I even put different knuckles or different tires on the car, and I was just like, "Whoa!" Like, the car feels different as hell. Like, I have not had that moment. But, like, it's
Mm.
always my cars have always had the same specs, maybe the same Ackerman, because 'cause they're all, like, the same kinda chopped knuckles, so, like, it feels kinda the same, you know, like but, like, I've done, like, Wisefab one, I do, like, TK Tech one, so it doesn't feel like even, like, B knuckle, like, it doesn't feel when I in it, like, I'm like, "Okay." You know, I didn't go like, "Oh, shit. Now I need to, like"
Yeah, that's fair. The only
Yeah.
one that was, like, really crazy for me was, like, driving, like, a Gen 1 Wisefab car. I was like, "This is the most, like, different feeling
Yeah.
steering I've ever felt," like
Yeah.
yeah, and I was like, "I understand why someone would want this for comp because it makes it so easy to drift."
No, you just sideways and you just point and shoot.
Yeah, like, the way that I described it was, like, the gas pedal makes you go is, like, the steering wheel is where the car's going, and the gas pedal is how fast you're getting there.
Yeah.
Like, but, like, in a non-Wisefab car, like, you're driving with the pedal way more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
and so,
drive
like
with everything. And
yeah.
that's like I've been trying to explain that to Greg, which is funny. This goes back always just me explaining to Greg because he's trying to learn how to drive and he sees a lot of that aspect. And I have to try to explain to him, like, don't focus too much on one part of drifting. Like, don't focus too much on your steering. Make sure you're drifting with your foot. Make sure
Yeah.
you're turning. Like, he's like, well, because we'll do Mihan. And then when you get the big flick, he's like, I have no front grip. It's like, well, you're not drifting with the front. Like, you're not turning. Like, you gotta, like, you're let off, clutch slip a little bit, feel the grip. Like, it's the tires. Like, you have to, like, drifting is this big bag of tricks that you have. And, like, your e-brake is one, your left foot brake is one, slipping your clutch is one, you know, your
Yeah.
flicks are, and you have to, like, use them. And once you're in there, you know, you start using them, you know. But, like, there's specific tracks where they have their way to be driven,
If
and
you
it
don't do them, it does not
it
work.
does not work, and that's why, like, I try to tell 'em, like, you can't e-brake into that way, you have to, like, give the car a flick so that it, like, wants to rotate, you know, I'm trying to explain to him how to load up the car and flick it, you know, because in an FD, that's not a thing technically, there's not many turns where you're
There's
like
no big entry tracks.
we had a couple and, like, the thing is that Formula D doesn't, reward big entries. So, like, even if, like, technically Road Atlanta is a big entry, right? But like for you to like load up the car to like a sick backing entry, that's not awarded because you can replicate it over and over and over. If you can go out there and do that every single lap, you're fine. That you'll get an award. But if like Chelsea Denofa has done some, we're like, oh, but he's gotten bad scores because you literally, it's like the dude's chasing you doesn't know that that's what you're gonna do every time. It's kind of not fair for you to just randomly throw a backy and now you're like won the battle. Like
Yeah.
in that aspect of drifting, right? So like it's not rewarded then. So like, but this
So
is
what we learned is do one every time and it's good.
yeah, and that's happened before. Like at Texas, the first round they did Texas. Like if you look back up, you can look up the round of Texas. Chelsea Denofa was doing backies, like the most crazy entries you've ever seen at a track. And he literally did them over and over and over and over. And he actually did really good at the event. And like they rewarded that because he was like doing them over and over. Yeah, it's consistently.
Interesting.
Like at Road Atlanta, you can throw one. You can. But like if you're only doing 1 out of 10,
yeah,
it's not like they call it a chaseable lead run. So like if your lead run is not chaseable, like and like this is where
I feel like 90 degrees is very chaseable if you're not a fucking
if you have YSFAB, right?
yeah, like you can fucking spin
if your
the
car is
out.
designed to be 90 degrees,
yeah,
but it's not.
Yeah. I don't know. I think we'll see it. I think it'll start coming.
This is
Those
where
guys will figure it out eventually.
This is where I think if Formula D is smart and literally puts exhibition drifting into their thing and has like, you know, actually like teen tandems, maybe some backward entry comps, and it doesn't have to be the people like competing. Or I mean, half of these big pros could have their big pro car and their like fun car, and like I would love to see Osmo and all those dudes on their simple cars do fun things. Like,
didn't you see what was that LZ World Tour where they had fucking James Dean and somebody else like go battle in the fucking Altezas?
Yeah, or the Altezas, right? That was their one more time battle. So if they were one more time, they had to battle in those cars.
That was so fucking funny.
That's what I'm saying.
Amazing.
That's a good thing that Adam's doing with that LC World 2 stuff. It's because he's actually showing drifting and like these
all
different
facets.
Yeah, and like
yeah.
So it's like a good thing there. So like if Adam and freaking somehow FD or like because FD is just like the thing, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know how I feel like there's more style drifters and more just regular drifters and pro drifters back then. How did they allow FD to just be? How was FD like the American drifting?
I don't know who's making the decisions.
I don't know who made that decision either, but FD is like if you can. Everyone speaks of American drifting about FD.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to me. We have so much style at drifting here. The Japanese people are doing stuff that we do.
Yeah.
Just like in the style aspect.
Yeah, that's crazy. There was one of the teams at Final Bout this year was like, yeah, we like our inspiration is like animal style and tandem of die. I'm like, bro, we just copying like
we're copying you guys. What do you mean?
Yeah, it's so weird.
How did we copy y'all's homework, but we copy your like what? That doesn't work.
There's a lot of like fucking international homework copying.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. That's what's crazy. Like same with like lowrider culture and like hot rod culture. Like choppers. Like people in Japan are building like these sick choppers, and then that's like people in the US are like, that's like, but it's that back and forth like energy where it's like, oh, he thought of something no one else did. Like that's now cool, you know.
Yep. And it's like it's the overall like you said earlier, like being able to pull something off, right? So like now you have this different person with a different set of eyes, you know, building might be the same car that's been built 1 billion times, but now could actually look a little different, you know.
Different life experiences.
Yeah, like
growing up on monster trucks. Like I thought monster trucks were like the coolest thing in the world. But like now my car is pretty like wild style because
but like you would say if someone could say that your livery could be a monster truck livery.
Yeah, I think
so. Then like you have like inspiration straight from something that like still, you know, it might not be that, you know, but like you're in a roll cage car, that's like giving you monster truck vibes.
Yeah,
Like, you know, it
exactly.
might not
Yeah.
be like, you know, like that's what I'm saying. Drifting has, like, I might not have a mini truck, but like I have lowrider and shiny paint. You know, I would love to build a lowrider, but like I love drifting a little more. So like, why not?
Have both.
Yeah, like put that little spice into it.
I always like one of my favorite cars was the drift lowrider. You know, the like woman owned one from Japan that had
Yeah,
like the sideways hood and
yeah,
shit,
yep, yep.
sideways trunk.
I think it's the Silvio, right? Or
Yeah.
yeah, because yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of them actually.
Yeah.
But like, all right, and that's a thing though. So like, when I look in inspiration for my drift car, and then I see those people would take so much pride and put so much personality into their cars, right? So it's like this girl that like lights one specific thing, and then now all she's done is like bedazzle her whole entire car, you know,
Yeah.
like that like makes you want to do that.
Yeah. You're like, oh, someone's crazier than me. Like I don't have to go that crazy,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna get close.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
That's like the big part about it. Building cars is fun.
I also like I really enjoy like the like unveiling of like a you
Mhm.
know, like the last refresh of my car, you like post it up on the internet and then like, you know, you're like, I like it. I hope people do, you know? Like you kind of know you're like, okay, I think I did good on this one, you
Yeah.
know. Like I think I executed. Like
Exactly.
people are like, this is gangster and you're like, yes, you know? And like might not be for everybody, you know?
No.
But
But like
like
you're excited.
yeah, exactly. Like, you know, I'm not going to like impress the entire world, but like
100%.
people that like it will really like it cuz you
Yeah.
know, they know you like put the time in and stuff.
And that's like Final Bout, I guess, for us right now. So like there's a lot of people who are building cars just for Final Bout, or like, you know,
Yeah.
we see their new version of it then. It's super cool. But we have like we have import lines or whatever, and they have this like early, like, what is it? Early spring event that is very good because like it's a giant car meet, right? So like we're just like a sideshow of it, right? Um, but like it's a really good place for you to like show your car off. So like we've always released our like liveries there. So like
Oh, that's
nobody would
cool.
know like our cars into that event, you know? Like even my car not even being painted until that event, you know, like nobody knew it was painted. That event, painted livery, like it can't like so we like it helps show off because it's kind of strategically in our part because um the amount of media is going to be there, right? So now we have a whole bunch of photographers who are only there for cool
Shoot cool
cars,
cars, yeah.
right? So then now you have like this really cool drift car who is freshly like, you know, freshly painted, freshly, you know, everything's still nice. You get all the good media, you know, like you want to have that before you ruin the car, like in the
Facts.
season. So like that's a big thing. Like get your pictures before you can ruin your car. So that's
Yeah,
like usually we have like that event. So it's kind of cool to
that
be
is
able to
cool.
like unveil your
It
car
feels
like that.
good. You like
Yeah,
roll
yeah,
in
yeah.
and people are just like,
Whoa, like all the
"That's
other
different."
kids. Yeah,
Yeah, all the
like
kids are like, "What? That's crazy!" Like,
yeah.
what's next for you in drifting or in general, man?
Um, man, I don't know. Um, I want another Sylvia again, really, but like an S13, PS13.
Yes.
Um, just because I miss mine, and really just because like this thing is too crazy, and I want like another like I want to build another car and like put like I want to build a like a B knuckle car and then just try to drive it and to see if like I want to drive that car and then drive this car and then to see if I could actually be like, okay, there's a difference that I can feel all the time, if that
Mm,
makes sense. Like that's like the only thing that I want to do. Like if I want to drift more, um, but like I want to drift more in a way that like I'm like testing things out, if that makes sense. Like,
mm.
cause like I can,
Scientific drifting.
yeah, yeah, like not just like yeah, like for a purpose, I guess, you know, like to make me be like, okay, am I a better driver with this setup? Am I a better driver with that setup? Or did I become a better driver because I like master both? You know, like I
Right.
learned how to drive B knuckle the way the B knuckle's supposed to be driven, but then I can get in this Wisefab car and drive it like it's supposed to be driven. So like, you know, it'd be able to be cool to like be handed a car and you just drive it like the way that you're known to be driving without having to put like your own parts or whatever. Without like, I guess that would be like me being afraid of like, you know, taking a car everywhere and like showing off that it's supposed to be this good when it doesn't like. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I guess sometimes you're afraid to like show that you're not as good of a driver if you get into a car that doesn't feel like what you're used to. So
Yeah,
like
definitely.
you're like, I want that not to like I want me to feel like I want to be a good driver. This is like the adaptive things. I want to be a good driver just because I'm a good driver, not feel like I'm a good driver because I have Wisefab. Or like if I put this knuckle setup that I've been driving on my S14 for 10 years, then like it's gonna feel like the car that you know, like I'm just
Right.
gonna hand it. But like
Yeah.
if I get in your car that everything's completely different, I should be able to like achieve similar.
My car's cheat codes. It's easy as shit to
But
drive.
like
You would rip in my car.
that's like a thing though. I want to be able to like do that and then feel like, okay, I like his knuckle setup because of this
Mm,
more than I liked, you know, this other kid's SLR kid, you know, like because of that.
right.
Not just be like, your car's fine. I don't know. That and that's how I feel right now. Like maybe I'm not being like too like I'm not thinking about it too much, or I just let my brain do its thing and I like don't overthink it. But like I am like being very picky about the way I'm driving. Like I, you know, like I said, like I've got into people's cars and I just like do one lap and like okay, and then like start driving the car how I know how to drive. But then I like adapt to the car. You know, it might not have the angle or the snappiness that I'm used to, right? So then now I'm being more heavy on the throttle than I might be on my car, so then I can make it snap hard.
Mm,
Does that make sense?
yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
so, like that's the way that my brain thinks instead of me thinking like, oh, this dude doesn't have the Ackerman like mine.
Yeah.
I start feeling out how to like,
Just adapt.
yeah, like how to make the car do what I wanted to do. Like, okay, like his he doesn't have enough rear grip like I do. I'm gonna wash out, so I have to be careful, like trying to like do some things.
I think I'm good at knowing about like rear grip and stuff, but yeah, as far as like Ackerman and steering adjustment and stuff like that, I'm still pretty novice. Like I couldn't tell you like I know what it feels like to change the Ackerman because like when I was on SLR, like you can adjust it, and so like you could add and remove it, and it's like it does feel different. Like yeah, it, like snaps differently, and there's like the way that it will like hang out at like angle and the way that it like jumps to angle are different.
Yep.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff, but I couldn't like tell you like if you like made if you blindfolded me and like changed my car and I don't know if I could like fully be like, okay, you've added this much Ackerman, like
Exactly. That's kind of what I'm saying. That's kind of
yeah,
what I want to be able to feel that. I want to be able to feel like, and that's where like I don't know if I'm gonna be able to because my brain's just gonna like,
adapt to drive
yeah,
the
go
car the way you want it
dabbed
to.
instead of like actually going, yo, your leading wheel is making me, you know, like,
Drive shitty.
yeah, like it shouldn't hang
It's
down
your
so much, dude. It's just leading wheel, like I don't, you know, I don't know that far.
yeah.
I like it's got angle. Yeah. It feels snappy. Yeah, cool. Well, let's do it. Like it's not enough. Okay, let's figure it out. Like
Yeah. For me, it's like, is the suspension soft? Is the suspension hard? Does the car have a bunch of roll in it? Like tire pressure, I can pretty much be like, yeah, it's like too high, too low. Um, but yeah, as far as like knuckle feel, like I know what I like, but I can't like be like, okay, change this and it'll be better.
yeah.
But I think for the most part, I think that's a really hard thing to be able to know because it's like the
Yeah.
only thing that we can't really like change on the fly easily,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Well, with like some knuckle setups though. That's like
Yeah.
there's like these GK Tech things. They have like adjustable like Ackerman and like all that stuff. So
Yeah.
you could like technically do a lap
change it.
change it, do
see
another
how it
lap,
feels.
change it, do another lap, change it.
Yeah, I
But see,
should have
like,
done that while I had it.
yeah, that's the thing, and nobody ever does that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't sit around like when I'm driving, I don't think like I'm about to do 2 laps, add more toe, do 2 laps, take out more toe. Like, I don't think that. My car
Yeah.
said drives good, okay, let's go. Like,
Yeah, you're like, I came to the track to rip. I didn't come to the
Yeah.
track to like do science. But
it might
I
be
guess
useful.
I guess
right?
what you're saying is like that is like a next like frontier. Is
yeah, like
learning that shit would be really, really fucking valuable, I think.
yeah, especially for what we're doing like in the Formula D and be able to help like our friends do better. It's
Yeah.
good to be able to understand like suspension setups and geometries and or what they do. How do they react?
Yeah.
Like we play a lot with sway bars in Formula D cars and in cars that we're not allowed to do, not that we're not allowed, but we can't fit a sway bar in. We figure out how to go around that. So like we have some coilovers that will have like 4 or 5 springs because there's like 3 helper springs compressed to help like a sway bar. So when the car like unloads, it like reacts like it. It's a whole bunch of signs and like weird things behind it that like we have to try because the car can't get a sway bar. So like, like it's more makes you nerd. That's like what excites me. Like I guess that's what excites me in the drifting nowadays. It's like figuring out these cool little things that like it's not just a car to me anymore. Like it's like a whole tool. Like it's a professional thing that like and like y'all are doing the same thing. I feel like Julian's setups are like, now like very specifically done by a way to drive a specific way.
Yeah.
If you kind of like don't do all the things, it's not gonna drive. Like I've asked him because I want to put B knuckle in this thing, but it's got a front steering rack or modest steering rack, and he's like, we've had to do weird things. So I'm like, I don't want to not drive a B knuckle like how it's supposed to instead of me driving it like half. Like I would rather drive like Julian's car that's set up and learn that way instead of me putting B knuckle with like around some things.
Yeah, so Jason used to have a
Yeah.
moved steering rack. Like
Yeah.
it was forward like an inch or something. And
Yeah.
his car drove so different.
Yeah.
But like what does that do? It just like reduces the Ackerman.
Yeah.
And so like that was like it was like B knuckle with like way lower Ackerman. But now the new version of B knuckle, like V3 or whatever, like reduces Ackerman.
You see, then this is where
And
stuff
like
is really
now they're going like wider, lower control arms.
so they're gonna go back to this because I swear like I got really remember when I said I helped friends make this.
Yeah.
I got like very nerdy. Like I was like 0 Ackerman, plus Ackerman, negative Ackerman, and we had like different ones. I ended up 0 Ackerman because to me, like equal wheel well balance ends up working the most. It's more predictable to me. There's like I'm trying to remember. There's one where the lead wheel Europeans really like positive. So they have
Hate it.
I know I don't understand that.
Hate it.
And this is they really like their rear wheel to like be chilling with less angle, and I don't get it.
Positive is
Is
positive
it
is,
more
it's
negative?
more than so
More
like
angle?
lead wheel. Positive Ackerman
Would
is
be-
the chase wheel has more angle than the lead wheel.
Yeah, in though, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I mean by that. So like they're it would be like whoop, whoop,
Yeah.
instead
Hate
of
it.
like out more.
Hate it.
Yeah, like I don't understand
They
that.
have those like bolt-on kits for like E36s that like pretty much give you like positive or negative Ackerman. Fuck. I don't know. I got it backwards. You were right.
Something like that,
Yeah.
right? It's one of those things.
We don't-
like-
Obviously, I'm an idiot. Don't know what I'm talking about. But like, if the chase wheel has more angle than the lead wheel, like it feels so weird, and it
Yeah.
like it just like wants to go to lock all the time.
Yep.
It like wants to be really like sweepy and washy, and like
Yeah.
I hate it.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
So like I like the feeling of 0 because this is where it might be like the way that I've been driving the whole time has made me be the way that I am because it makes you adapt to like if I want the car to be snappy, I have to learn how to throw it like or be quick with transitions. Gotta learn how to quick steering movement or quick throttle blip, clutch, bloop, so the car does it fast instead of the knuckle itself doing it fast, which is funny. That's funny. And then they're going back to wider track width to
Yeah.
So like that's a thing though. So it's never makes sense.
There's like a reason for it. I can't remember why, but it's like,
It's probably the same reason the
but big
PBN
scrub
stuff
is
got made.
cool. Like
Yeah,
it does feel good.
yeah.
Like having the like big spacer, like really low offset, like it just feels
Mm-hmm.
like the steering wheel is really light, and then also
Mm-hmm.
like it just wants to snap, and like it
Yeah.
doesn't like it just like wants to be driven on like with the throttle. That's
Mm-hmm.
the cool part about it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think. And like as you like widen the track width and like remove Ackerman, like the car you can drive with the wheel like a lot easier. I think
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's it. I don't know.
There's science behind it. It's just like rear track width is very important too. And there's a lot of people who go wider in the rear, like naturally with the control arms, but I like to go opposite. I like to go in.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Why?
Many different ways. The R32 mainly was to get bigger wheels and tires behind it
Mm-hmm.
and to be able to get zero camber in a more like parallel thing. So
Mm.
like my arms would be more parallel moving up and down by being low too at the same time.
Interesting.
Yeah, because then instead of them long and pointing out, they're like shorter and pointing out. I don't know.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Shorter arms,
It also
bigger
supposedly
camber curve.
helps you give you more flick because your rear is smaller or whatever. Like it has a shorter rear
Oh,
track width.
interesting.
That's why everyone used to do like remember when all those like at some point there was all these Japanese like missile looking cars, like all the pro missile cars, the actual like practice cars or the pro cars. They used to all have super wide fronts and tiny narrow lower rears. I think it's because of that.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And it's because if you get wider rear track, it's gonna slow you down too more, I guess.
Ah,
Like the smaller it is, it's like a pivot point, you know? So like the easier it is for you to throw the
I didn't think about
like
that.
that's why they started doing like longer control arms at first.
Yeah. Well, it just feels more stable too. Like having that like big front end, like wide, like the car just goes where you want it to go. Like if you like bring it in, it's like a tiny, like more twitchy
Yep.
feel. Hmm.
A lot to it, right?
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So one thing that you probably haven't gotten into yet, but you could since you're doing fucking everything else. Would you ever get into like tuning cars?
I like technically know how to click a computer enough. So like this is where since like this thing, I completely put it together, right? And it has a PDM and ECU, right? It like ends up being my job to get it to turn on and run, which
Mm,
technically means that I end up doing half of that tuning thing. Like the
yeah.
main thing that I've per se haven't done is sat there and changed the fuel thing, but like I know exactly how and I know how to read wideband. So like I could.
Yeah. I'm in the exact same place as you. Like I configured my whole ECU minus like the timing and fuel map.
I
I'm
mean,
not,
you can figure out the fuel map, but like
timing I'm scared of.
that's the thing that me too. Like, I
Yeah.
don't physically know how much timing I'm supposed to add or take out to make more power. So, like, that's where I'm like,
Yeah. You just add all the timing
yeah,
and it
but
makes
like,
all the
how much is
power.
all?
And
Because
then
I know
yeah.
this K can do like 55 degrees of like some timing because of that one gear. So, like, how much time? Like,
Yeah. That's a lot.
that's a lot, right?
Yeah. I think like I don't know. Depends on the engine.
Yeah.
Depends on a bunch of stuff. But I don't know that. That's
Yeah.
why I haven't fucked with it because I'm like
No, I
this is
have friends that do tuning, but like I physically can get all my cars started and ECU.
configured.
Yeah, 100%. And like I configure the PDM, which is technically the same thing. It's like tuning the PDM,
Yeah.
but like to tell the thing, no, I don't. And like I just don't want to. Like that's a like I'm trying. I sometimes try to not want to do a lot to my cars. Like
Yeah. I get
I
it.
can do a lot, and I just don't. I like I can, but I don't want to. But like it, I'd rather just somebody else that like. That's one of those things that somebody else has been doing. If I know anybody that's been doing something for a long time, I will let them do it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like I only caged my car because I wanted to learn how to weld, but like technically, more than likely, I'm just gonna let our friend Chris Ward, Top Garage, just do all the other ones because it's literally what he does, and he does it
Mm,
so good. Like, there's no point for me to like. I can save the money or or just, save the headache.
Yeah.
So there is things that but like if I'm building something else, I might build a cage myself. But like another S chassis that I'm just gonna have him do it.
Hmm. I respect it. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. Big plans. Try to drive more. I have this one big thing that I want to do with my S14.
Hmm.
I think it would be very cool if I can do a full season of grid life, but I
Mm.
want to do it a specific way. The car has a lot of stuff on it that makes it a very good track car. And I think it would be very cool to do yet again, this goes back to me watching Japanese videos, but they would show how you can have a drift car and do time attack in drift cars. Like you've seen the Naoki race where Naoki literally wins the time attack race, right? In his S15, like in D1 GP car. I think that would be very cool to do. I think it would be very cool to do like a session of drift and then do a session of grip in the same car.
I want to do that too.
See?
I've been thinking about it. Yeah. I just got my 2-way from Cause, and I'm like, once that's in, like,
Yeah, this thing's got a 1.5. That's what I'm
oh,
thinking.
it's perfect.
This thing's got a 1.5. It's got a sequential transmission. It's got drive-by-wire, so it's got no lift. Like I can just floor it and shift. So it's got a lot of logging stuff, like drive shaft speed, like GPS and stuff like that. So I can hang out traction control in many different ways and stuff. So I can make this a crazy time attack car.
That'd be so cool.
That's and
Yeah,
I
you should
talked to
do
I've talked to
that.
a couple people Chase Bay's really into it because they do that. They have two different cars, so they
Mhm.
do time attack and drifting in the same platform. So I've told them I was like, this would be cool, and I think this you're not coming to Polka, are you?
I
I'm
found out about
sorry.
it too late. I booked all the tickets, and then I was like, "Oh, everyone's driving the week after I'm there,
Yeah.
3 hours away. Sick."
So that event, I think he's trying to do something where we're doing a grip session and drift session and
With
grip session.
transponders.
I think so. And I
Oh,
think he wants it to be
damn it.
legit to the point he wants us all to really try and stuff. So I'm really hyped because I know the main thing about this is gonna be floppy arrow once we start going really fast, right? Because it's drift arrow. It's not meant to be
Yeah.
100 miles per hour. But
It stays on, trust me.
yeah. Dude, I mean,
Zip ties hold a lot.
they do. I've driven this thing pretty fast. We have some pretty fast
I
tracks here.
I was doing, well over 100 at Laguna with
Yeah,
my
with the entry.
bump tie. My rear bumper was just zip tied on the left and right side.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing. I don't know. I don't think I entered at that fast at CMP. I think we were doing I mean, I was top of 5th and 6th, so it was the top of
That's
my car.
fast, dude.
It was, and it wasn't an entry. It was the track. I thought I was gonna die, but I think that's the thing that I want to do is that just nerd out on some drifting and car stuff because it's really cool to me right now. And I said, I'm 34, so I've been drifting for 20 years now if you think about it because I got a car when I was 14.
Mm.
So I was so addicted to just only drift mentality for so long that the past 6 years I've learned other not just drift stylish drift, right? Not give him the room for the motorsport side of drifting. Drifting is cool, Euros is cool, but looking at a motorsports wiring harness is also really cool. And if you don't
Yeah.
know what you're looking at, you might not realize it, right? But realizing that to me has grown into the thing or whatever, right? So that's why I think it would be cool to build it's gonna be cool to build a car specifically built just for drift time attack. So I don't think anybody's done that. Right? I don't think we've ever put stuff in the car balanced for the car to go fast. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's made a wing that like actually makes sense for you to like go fast. We put wings on our cars to look cool. Like, you know,
Yeah.
none of our
I tilted mine up a bunch, so it doesn't like even have that much downforce.
none of our aero really works. It looks cool,
Yeah.
but like it would be cool to put like an actual like splitter on this and like some diffuser that might, you know, it would be cool to see if on a drift car if it makes any difference.
I would love, yeah. That's one thing I think I'm gonna try and do this year because I have like some friends that are like big into time attack and like grip days and stuff, and I'm like, well, I only have one car, so I'm gonna bring that.
Yeah, and it's really not that far off, dude.
Yeah, I'm like, I got a full roll cage. Like, what are they gonna tell me? Like, it's not safe. Like,
No. And you will be fast, to be honest. Like
yeah,
it probably the same spec, like full on alignment that you have now. You'd probably be really fast.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
It's gonna be sick.
And that's like
I'm really excited to see this thing do grip because like sequential will be so fun.
yeah, that's the thing. That's like, oh, it would be cool to like drive it as a race car like that on like a racetrack and like be able to okay, so like in drifting, we don't get that cool satisfaction of like, okay, we did a lap and it was like 1 minute. Now, like, let's do something to the car and like immediately see, okay, now we're sub 1 minute. You know, like, oh, cool, I just did brakes. Now we're 59 seconds. What if I do tires and something else? Oh, now we're 58 seconds. Like, you know, in drifting, we don't see that at all. Like,
Right.
you're spending all this money and the car feels good, but like, there's not like a timer or something to be like, yeah, all the effort that you've done has made the car better.
I feel like they need to bring timers into professional drifting, like start to finish.
You think
Like,
so?
yeah, because like I did this like comp where there's some like some pro spec cars and like some pro level cars and some like whatever cars, and like I sat and timed like people's runs, and like there wasn't like a huge difference, and there were cars that were doing like, I mean, it's a 14-second run, like it's like part of like Sears Point, like race Sonoma. It's like I think like turn 3A through 4. Um, and like some cars would do it in like 14 seconds, and some cars would do it in like 16 seconds. And like some of the prospect builds were like 16 seconds, and you're like, oh, it's not about like how much power the car makes or like whatever. Like, to be fair, they weren't like top contenders and stuff. So it's like, okay. But like, yeah, it's just like more smoke, not as fast. And you're like, that's really interesting.
See, this is where it becomes very, very finicky. Because if you did that, right, this is where there's styles to drifting, right? So like you're gonna have, and I've had to deal with this in competition already. You'll have people literally just shallow out and just drive fast.
Yeah.
And then now you have somebody, and like this happens a lot. Like I see it all the time. And like it act like Naoki wouldn't be able to be part of that. He could because he's just gonna like Naoki's a really good chaser because he knows how to shallow up a whole bunch, keep angles still, but be fast like that. And that's how if he just did that as a lead car, he's fucking flying. And like you're
Yeah.
not chasing that at all. Like you know what I'm saying? Like if you're cutting turns and just making them super shallow just so you can like finish the run, that's where timers come into like this is why timers and speed aren't judged in Formula D anymore. Because the same thing, like speed's like a big factor, right? You would assume like, oh, this dude's going 90 miles per hour, that's really cool or whatever, right? Yeah, but then not really.
Yeah. I mean, but what about the dudes who just like sit on left foot brake the whole lap?
That's okay. So then this is where it becomes a thing, right? So then that same dude chasing a shallow driver, right? Screwed
Yeah.
because now he's got left behind. But
Yeah.
now the shallow driver has to now learn how to drive at full angle all the time. Like now think about it. Naoki has to learn how to drive against the Wisefab car going full angle, and you have to match angle because in FD they want you to match angle while matching like
Line. Yeah.
yeah. So like they don't want you to be like this,
Yeah.
which is cool. Like we that's cool to us, but they want you to be like door to door,
Yeah.
matching angle, like.
I think you're changing brake pads every fucking round. Yeah, or every lap.
But like, so like that's where it doesn't work for that. But if we had other avenues, or like this is where I don't know who just picked Formula E to be the top tier, but if we had other competitive series or other things that like, you know, now where they promoted fast drifting, where they promoted big entries, where the tracks might not be all ovals, where it's just like left foot braking the whole time to see how door you can get, like we might get that. But like I don't see that getting big here.
Yeah, because it's not smoky.
It's not. It's yeah, and like it's not. It's not a show. Because
True.
if like if the league cars just literally like this is also a thing that like you'll get in trouble in Formula E if the league car is like running. Like
That's crazy to me.
if you're physically showing that you're like showing out a lot more than you should be, and like you're cutting some stuff and you're just trying to leave the dude behind you, like
Mm.
it's crazy. That's what I'm doing. Like to become a Formula D driver, you have to have a couple like not a like skill set. You have to be a good driver, but you also have to know how to like please the judges. So
Yeah.
you have to learn how to change your driving style so then it like satisfies them. And maybe this is why James Dean's like the best driver in the world, because he's really good at knowing how to competitive drift. So he knows how to give the judges what he wants. If that
Yeah.
makes sense.
He has that much control.
Yeah. So like in some I don't know if you guys watch that, but like watching James Dean get on someone's door, and then you'll see he'll get to the door, and then you'll see his car pivot and match angle.
Yeah.
That shit is hard as fuck while
Yeah.
you're like in 1,000 horsepower car next to someone, and you're like, you got what, a 57-second run? 3 laps. And the guy in front of you is like, it's crazy. Like, it's crazy to actually watch him see that. How precise he does that over and over and over.
Yeah.
But then James Dean, I would say this to me this year, finally, like I will say he's like one of the best drivers now. Like I can say that because watching him drive the Mustang.
Yeah.
Because before I would be like, okay, the dude drives the same knuckles, the same car, the same like weighted distribution in the same cars over and over. Like his BMW, even though it's a BMW, it's literally all Wisefab, which is all the same geometry as like the S13 or S14, so the
Yeah.
S15.
Because they convert them to like front
Front
rack.
rack, it's literally all the same thing, same BMW steering rack and everything.
Yeah.
It's like literally the same everything. So like watching him do that take a year to like figure out the car, and now they're like the car does like the same thing he does with Wisefab. But like I'm sure their knuckles probably changed and they like designed them stuff that made it like close to it. But that's crazy.
Yeah. Watching him drive a Mustang the exact same as like a completely different chassis, like
Yeah.
like live axle,
Like he drives it like his S14s, and it's
yeah, which is wild.
crazy.
Yeah.
He's completely drives it completely different than Chelsea and all those people, and it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Everyone who gets in those RTR cars drive them completely different.
Yeah, it's right wild.
Yeah. But that's like what you're saying, like it's not just the car, it's like
Yeah,
driving style and like how you want the car to react
and I feel
and
like
making it do the things that you want it to do.
right, that's feel like that's maybe why the only person right now so far that like has been good with it, or like not that Chelsea hasn't, but James Dean won a freaking championship 2 years in. That means it took him 1 year to figure out the
He
car,
was struggling the first year,
right? And
big
then
time,
whatever changes
but
they
it's
made, and then that was it. Then he like figured it out. While Chelsea, they were making changes every year. Car was different every year, and like it took him eventually. Like
yeah.
he was in there for a while. Like look, Adam's the same way. Like
Yeah.
Ben's the same way. Ben's our friend, and like he's
Yeah.
driving them a lot, but like it takes
Yeah,
like
he looks like he's struggling in those
yeah,
things.
dude,
I think they just drive like
hard.
I'm not gonna say who, but like one of those four was saying that they drive pretty weird and it's like
The
hard. It's like
opposite,
you have to
dude.
like relearn
Yeah.
a lot.
hmm And like it's because some of the stuff they do, like the power adders or whatever. So like you know how you and I fully let off gas and stuff like that? They are not supposed to. They gotta roll off throttle. Like there's like very specific ways to do that because like let's just say the nitrous is going off, right? You and I roll off throttle and they gotta come back on. Their nitrous is gonna like not work the same way or like as
Ah,
a turbo or
interesting.
whatever, right?
Yeah.
So like they have to like let the carb on so the nitrous is still on instead of just like completely off, completely on, completely off, completely on.
Ah, weird.
Yeah. So there's like all these weird things about learning to drive those things. Which again, like I said, this is why I finally like James Zenith's a really good driver. Like before everyone was like, oh, he's the best in the world. I'm like, yeah, you know, whatever, you just the same car, you know, but now I can be like, dang, that dude's
Yeah.
pretty good.
He made it undeniable.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Which is cool.
yeah. And like seeing like other drivers like Adam go do whatever drift masters
Yeah.
and like do okay makes you realize, dang, those people actually do drive good. Like, because we don't realize like how hard those Europeans drivers are. Like, we don't, you know, but they're really good. Like Jack and Connor Shanahan or whatever,
Dude.
dude. Like Jack coming in here and borrowing cars like the day of like last round, he didn't even know he was what engine was in that BMW. He was just driving it. He didn't even like
Yeah. Savages.
dude, that's crazy,
Savages.
dude. They're so good.
Yeah.
Scary
I
good.
do think Drift Masters has a good like balance between like speed and
Mhm. I think they use smaller tires, right?
I don't know.
Or
I don't know any of the rules. All I
I
know is like what I've
actually I
watched.
think it's the opposite. I think they're on like semi slicks and stuff like that. I think they're all on like grippy, grippy tires. But I think there's a difference there.
Yeah.
Like there's a difference in car build and like stuff like that from there to here.
Yeah, like I'd love to go drive Drift Masters.
Right.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't do good, but
I probably wouldn't either.
it would be fun.
Yeah, it'd be sick.
Those tracks would be sick. Like super sick. What's a track that you like wish you get to drive?
In my own car?
Yeah.
Uh Damn, where do I even start? I talk about it a lot, but I really want to drive E-Town. Not like the figure eight thing, but like
The road
road
course.
course.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
good. Like I like just the different layouts, like it's incredible. I don't know. I like really want to go drive more stuff in like the middle of the country and like out east and like I don't know. I just want to see what's out there. Like
Yeah.
I want to drive like mid pond,
Yeah.
like anywhere where you could just go like jam with people.
Yeah.
Like that's the drifting that I like.
Yeah. Same. There's a lot of
Definitely a bunch of stuff in Japan. There's
yeah.
that track. I don't know if you've ever seen the track out in the UK where it's like next to the ocean.
Mm-mm.
Our friend posted these GoPro clips like of in car and he's just like transitioning and it's just like the ocean. And it's
What?
like on some like weird like cliff
Yeah, no,
like
I don't think I've seen it.
dude, it's fucking sick. And like
Yeah.
I want to go drive like Australia, like New Zealand, Hampton Downs, like all of it. I don't know. There's just like there's like a million places I want
There's
to go.
so many little tracks to drive.
Yeah. How about you?
Um, Sekia Hills would be like one of the ones that I really
Oh
wish that
yeah.
I could drive just because it's like gone or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of little tracks that there's a lot of little tracks in America that we don't know about. Like I'd be randomly seeing like Arizona or like I don't somewhere around there, all these go-kart tracks with like multiple like layouts that I'm like, what the hell? Why isn't there more events or like coverage or like
Yeah.
something out of these places? But like it doesn't seem like it like unless you're from that area, like you know,
You don't
it's
know
you
about
don't
them at
know,
all.
it's not a big deal. Which is crazy. Like mid pond, I don't even understand how like that's so big or known.
Media coverage.
Yeah, true. I
Yeah.
named that place.
Did you?
Yeah,
You named Mid Pond?
yeah. I called it Mid Pond Circuit. Like I have it, the text message of the guy like, "Yo, we found this track. It's cool. There's a pond in the middle." And then he sent me like the screenshot of like the aerial view, and I was the thing I responded, "Oh, Mid Pond Circuit." I'm telling you. And then like Ken and that dude got into a battle about like the ownership of the name, and I was just like, I don't. I just named it.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's random as fuck.
There's a bunch of good tracks. Like I want to go drive Texas. I want to go I don't know.
Texas is dope.
I would love to drive like I don't know, like somewhere in Central America.
Right? That's true.
There's like a bunch of cool tracks out there.
Yeah, there is. That's true. I this is crazy, but like I got in a whole bunch of trouble when I was like younger, and I thought I was gonna get deported, and I used to have dreams of yeah, no, whatever. But I used to have dreams of like me driving my S13 in like the mountains or like the because they're like toge, they're just mountains there, right? Or like it's like it's a road, but it's like toges, and I would have dreams of me doing that
in Colombia.
Mm-hmm.
Sick. Yeah, have you been back to Colombia? And
like it's been a while, but I went back when I was like 20 or 19 or something. So like I have gone.
I feel like there's probably drifting there now.
There is now, yeah. It's not like as crazy, but there is some drifting now, 100%. Like if I ship this thing there, it would be like a pro car, and like I would just, it would be crazy.
Yeah, you just be a professional drifter in Colombia.
Yeah,
that'd be kind of sick.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you guys a cheat for you to get into Formula D. So like if you ever want to run Formula D, right? There's a couple of ways that you need to get into it. You can petition into it, or you can do like you can win a competition, right? Right.
Like any competition?
Like any competition. Well, not in America, you have to be pro-am competition that is licensed to Formula D. But if you're from an outside country, as long as you win any like professional or sanctioned series in that country, you're considered a professional. So people have petitioned to Formula D and who have won that G1 GP thing at like Ebisu. Like the foreigners who won a season.
Grant Anderson, dude, now's your chance,
Luke,
bro.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's how Luke Fink got into Formula D. It's because the last competition he won was that, and since it's a international series, you can petition into Formula D and you'll make it in. So you can technically move to like a third world country, start your own series, win it like stupid cheap because it like and just make it in Formula D.
Okay. That sounds a little more complicated.
It's dude.
Logistically,
logistically, yeah. But economically, it's cheaper.
It is cheaper, yeah. I kind of want to do a shootout just to like
do it.
Yeah, but then I don't want the license because then I would be like, well, fuck it, let's try. You know, like
that'll be fun.
Yeah. I don't have the money to run pro spec.
Doesn't Julian have a license, or didn't he at one point in time?
Julian, Jason, and Ryan did FD for a minute.
Yeah, but Julian and both Jason did, right?
Julian and Jason both had FD licenses at one point. Yeah, it was like 2012, I think.
Crazy. With the S14 when it was like white. And
that's what the
primer.
S14 was built for.
Yeah,
I was supposed to be his FD car. And same with Jason's 13.
Yeah,
I was supposed to be an FD car. That's why they had like full roll cages and whatever. Like, yeah, I was there when they were both building them. I was gonna make like a documentary about them going to FD. That's how I became friends with them.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Like I put out a video. It's like it came out in like 2013, but it was like pretty much just like about Julian and him like testing his car and stuff. Yeah, I think I'm gonna like redrop it on YouTube because it's been like quite a few years now.
That shit's dope. See, people probably have no idea about that.
Yeah.
But like this is where people don't realize Julian and like a lot of animal style are such good drivers because they've all been driving for so long, and they've also had like an aspiration to be a competitive driver. It's not just like they're not just hanging out. Like there's people like Procy, none of those dudes
will ever do a comp.
Yeah, like other than like
competitive driving does make you better.
100%.
Yeah, like and I'm not saying that we're better than Proceed or anyone.
It changes you.
Yeah,
you chase something. Dude, you're like, you get off the track. You're like, I need to fix my car to be better.
Yeah, and I've done well at competitions, and I've done not well at competitions, but like everybody on the team, like Jason, when it's comp time, like when he went to do LZ World Tour, like he's a different person.
Oh, I've driven against him at Super D.
Yeah, he's a different person.
I could tell. I was like, oh shit.
He there's like a switch that flips,
He was
and
trying to win.
Jason's in like kill
Yeah.
mode,
Yeah.
and like he doesn't always do that. Like it's really interesting to see.
Yeah.
Julian has like another gear, like when it's like comp time, like he clicks it up one more, like that you don't see otherwise,
Yeah.
and it's like, yeah, it's different. And fucking Aaron, like he's just as competitive. Like he'll go out and like want to win. Fucking like he's kind of got like a little competition itch right now that he wants to scratch pretty bad. Like I'm kind of interested to see where that goes. And like
It's a thing.
yeah, like I've
It's a
been
progression.
yeah, like yeah, I like doing comps. I've been doing I think I won the last 3 that I did, so that's
Good.
pretty sick. But they were like, they were like lower level comps and stuff. So
But like it helps you because you're not thinking about drifting the same way while you're like staging up in competition.
yeah.
You're like, you're so focused on so many other things that like now you're like, okay.
Yeah, it's a very different like energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not like I don't have that in me. I like doing it, but like I never chased it. This is why I never like chased pro-am or like I've done competition, I've done some pro-am. I've won like big angle competitions and little fucking competitions here and there, but like I've gone signed up at competitions because there wasn't enough people, and they're like, "Just do it." I'm like, "Ah," I'm like literally on ball tires, and they're like, "Okay, do it anyways." I'm like, "Okay," and like I've done good till my tires explode, and I'm like, "Yay, fun!" Like that was it. Like,
I I don't love doing competition because it like yeah, I don't like opening that box because then I get like really competitive and I'll get like it's just like it's like a different version of myself. I'm like, okay. But like when they go well, like it does feel good.
yeah, 100%. It's like, yeah, winning feels good, but like,
Yeah. If I don't do well, I like go home and I'm like, fuck.
yeah, I'm already too anal on myself, so I try to not add more things
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah,
Like,
I
but
can
like,
relate to that.
I already, yeah, there's no point for me to go home and like, I drove like crap. Like, I know.
That's something that you get over time though.
Yeah. To a degree though, I don't know, dude.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
s
still there.
I
It's not as
I've
bad as when I was younger though.
I've worked for some pro drivers who I expect for them to not throw like tantrums and stuff like that because 'cause they're not winning, but like you've been losing this whole time and you're still throwing a tantrum. It seems kind of it seems kind of weird to me.
Yeah. Like,
But
but
like
they want it that bad.
it's that personality that like I just know that I don't have it in me because like watching someone do that like not do good all the time but still be fucking angry and like that just I don't know.
It never goes away until
Yeah.
yeah, they're like, I want to be a world champion
Yeah.
or US champion.
Whatever it is at this
Yeah.
point. Yeah, I can.
Or at least like fucking take home a trophy.
Yeah.
I get that. You
I get that.
spend all that money, all that time, all those years,
Yeah. You want
and like
something to show for it.
you don't have like a single fucking trophy, like that's gotta hurt.
I mean, dude, there's a lot of FD drivers that need to pack it up because of the same reason.
Yeah, wasting space and bringing the fucking heaters.
They actually
Someone's got to take out James.
There actually this year was a we know a lot of people in Formula D or whatever, and this year there was a lot of sad people because a lot of people didn't get their licenses approved or their petitions approved, and even drivers got put down from pro to pro spec.
Oh shit.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you gotta keep it exciting, I guess.
But it's like what you're saying though. It's like,
Fucking FD layoffs, dude.
and it's the thing is that like, do you want to see the same dude who's been struggling this whole entire time, or do you want to see a new guy struggle to get better? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
It's
I'd
like,
rather
bro,
watch.
you've done it 5 years. You haven't podium once. Like, you made it out of top 32 once. Like,
Time to go,
yeah. Like,
or prospect or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that like the Brazilian guy got pulled down.
Oh shit, the fucking cowboy hat
Yeah,
guy.
he's in prospect now. Mike Powers got taken off pro, and he's got to do prospect, and he doesn't have a car.
Fuck.
Because that's like my problem, right? So imagine like he built this car,
Oh
he's been
shit, I didn't even
doing
think
this,
about that.
and then now he
They
can't
gotta
do that.
have
He's
some
got to go
fucking
do. That's what I told him. I would be raising I would
It'd
be
be
like,
like,
yo,
you
my
had
car
me
has to
build this
be.
car to this level. Now I got to change it.
It's got to be grandfather in. There's no way. That's
Yeah,
like that's what
that's
I told him. I would
crazy.
fight that, but
Yeah.
that's like the rules. And they were like trying to get some other big names, but like they like barely made it in.
Damn. I can guess a couple of them. I'm not gonna do it, but
I mean, you can. They're fun.
yeah, I'm not.
You're like, I don't want them to
Yeah,
hate me.
I don't want this. I don't want the smoke, dude.
There's armies out there for sure.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. How we doing?
We've been talking for a long time, I
Yeah,
feel
it's
like.
been a long one, huh? This was good, dude. I'm
Indeed.
glad we did this.
Indeed. Thank
I
you for
didn't
coming out.
I didn't know your origin story. I actually like didn't know a whole lot about like the stuff that you've been doing, and like I just knew you judged Final Bout and that you like drove cool cars and shit. I didn't know you were like going fucking crazy this whole time.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah. We just sit here and do our little thing.
It's cool.
Yeah. I like
Fucking
it.
yeah. I'm sure we could fucking talk for another 2 hours, but
Yeah.
you fucking
Yeah.
killed it, dude.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time.
Well, thank you for coming out. It's actually really cool to be able to like do this in person with somebody.
So much
It's
better.
easier, yeah.
So much better.
This feels cool to be able to like have a conversation about stuff.
Yeah.
Easier than like over the internet or whatever.
Yeah, especially I'm like looking at your work,
Yeah.
you know, like inspires like a good conversation about like what you've been doing and stuff. So yeah,
For sure.
good. Glad we did it.
Yep, drifting.
Yeah.
It's been so long. It's crazy to think about.
Yeah. Would you ever quit?
I don't think I'll ever quit, to be honest. Like it's one of those things that like I might like I don't know. I don't think I'll ever quit. Like I could say like see myself maybe like breaking from not like trying to drive hard like all year. But like I feel like if Final Bout's always happening and I can like come hang out, I'll just go to that, even if I just go to like that event. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
that's
saying?
real.
Like there's like I can say I'm taking a break now because I'm not trying to go to every event that I can. I'm only like going to like I'm choosing some fun events that I like want to go drive with people and like make sense. Like I don't want to like it's not like back in the day where I'm like I need to drive. I have a drive. Like I had to drive.
Yeah.
Like that dude, my R32 was literally like every month I would try to do one or two events. So like every other weekend I was like,
Damn.
getting ready to go or like
Yeah. No free time.
yeah, like every
Mm.
free time was like
Car prep.
fixing car after breaking.
Yeah.
Smash my friend, need a headlight, fix bumper, paint bumper. And that's like so you want to know like how it all started like that. Like, how did like I paint a car? I broke. I smashed a car. I needed to paint it. I learned how.
Yeah.
And then like because the first two cars I had friends paint them. And then one of them like kind of showed me like this is you can just need this. And then, it's just like, okay, I could do a bumper. How many times can I do a bumper? 100 times, How many times have I ruined the bumper? A lot. So like I have to paint it a lot. You know the feeling, right? So like same bumper. You get 1 big gallon of paint and you reduce it 1 to 1. That's 2 gallons of paint. You're fixing a lot of bumpers and painting one whole car. So like, and then I don't know if you guys do this, but like that's why we all have team colors because it was cheaper for us to buy one big jug of paint. Now, when someone breaks, we still have paint left over. So, like, we keep fixing things instead of like
Take notes, kids.
yeah, it saves you money when you can do that as a group, like
Yeah.
all throw in on 1 gallon and like we painted 2, 3 cars and whatever, So like that went from there. I asked a local painter, a local guy here, how much would a roof cost? And he like laughed. I was like, man, that would be so expensive. Like, I don't know if you want to do that. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay. I YouTubed it. And like literally just, okay. You can YouTube and nowadays, when I first started, there was like barely nowadays you can YouTube a step by step guy on how to fully do patterns, full flake, full candy, like everything on a car. So like I was just like, okay. I can't afford, to pay this guy $3,000.
$3,000
Yeah,
roof,
like
yeah.
for a roof. I can't afford to pay $3,000 to have a paint job, let alone the roof.
Thank you, Aaron.
Right?
Yeah.
The friends, dude. Like that's why I painted all my friends' cars, and and like you see Greg's car, he didn't want like little
That
things,
roof came
but
out sick,
I was just
dude.
like, no, give me 5 minutes. Let me do this real quick.
Yeah,
Like
it looks
literally,
so
like
good.
we have to do that. Like let's add. He's like, oh, I don't know. Like let's do ghost flames on your roof. Like
Yeah, it came out so good.
so, like that's
Yeah.
like it's just fed. Like I know how to do everything I know how to do because of necessity, and the necessity has been having or wanting a cool drift car. So like, you know, I want to have that. How do I do that? I
Yeah.
can't build wheels, but I can like weld, or I can learn how to weld. I can't. So learn some stuff. You trade some of your work for some things. You get some parts. The amount of things that I have from this car that are cool that I traded my friends other like work with. Like the front wheels, Tyler wouldn't sell me. Or not these, the Advance. Tyler wouldn't sell me RG ones, even though he had them. But he would sell me. He would sell me or trade me more rare Advance, the triple spoke ones. So I painted some stuff for him and got wheels. Saved myself like $1,000. You know what I'm saying? That's a big deal whenever you're like
Yeah.
building a car. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. That's how it's all came to fruition, and where I'm at now. Even drifting, dude. Like I started. We didn't say this, but like I started drifting and I would go to events and I would volunteer at events. So like I would work the whole event. I would pick up cones. So like I would be a cone worker and like I would have flags. So I would have like a yellow flag, red flag, and then they gave me like a fun flag because I would hype the drivers up. So like if you're doing good
Sick.
and you were like making it fun, like I would be hyping you up and like that would make the drivers hyped up and like it was like a whole thing. But
That's
like
cool.
at the end of the day, I would get like an hour's worth of driving. So then I would like, I literally would drive my drift car to the event with like one pair of spares maybe, and I would do like the end, just roast whatever spares that I took from the back of NTV or Tires Plus or whatever it was, and get a couple laps in, and like that, that's how I like became into the scene. That's how like I started to meet people, like how I met like all the bigger people in the scene, and like started relationships, right? And so
Yeah.
then like it just continued to go from there. And like the same drive for me, like, oh, if I go do this, I get to drive for free. If I go do this, I get this car part. If I go do this, I learn how to do this for my car. If I go do this, I can, whatever. Like it just has spiraled. Which I wish I would have did it with something else. I would be rich right now. Somebody told me to be an engineer when I was little and like dangle me keys, like the correct things in front of me. I would have like
Figured it out.
yeah, because I'm like pretty smart, but like when I was little, I was just dumb.
I get that. Same.
I was just like dumb. I didn't have like a father figure like that and stuff. So it's like I was just being reckless.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like really drifting, to be honest, saved my life. Like really. 'Cause I almost went to prison for some stupid stuff right before all that. And then like it kind of made me like, maybe I should do more car stuff and less hood rat stuff.
I can relate. Seriously. I'll tell you more about it.
Yeah, indeed.
All right. Based on that, fucking killed it, dude. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for listening to the whole episode. If you like the guest, be sure to give him a follow on social media. The link's in the description. Send him a message. Tell him you appreciated the episode. They put a lot into these. If you want to support us, check out the links below. Follow us on social media. Hit the subscribe on YouTube, Spotify. You can check out goodestco.com for the latest merch drops. Hit up the Patreon. See what we got cooking on there. We appreciate you guys.